That's the one for Mark over there, and Henry McMahon getting very close over again. We go to Croke Park to Charlie Collins. Charlie.
Yes, P.O., and you couldn't have joined us at a more opportune moment, because Anthony Malloy, the big man from our draft, leads Donegal, the first Donegal team ever to appear in an All-Ireland senior final, out onto Croke Park. And what a scene we see here away to our right-hand side at the canal end and on the Cusick end and on both sides of us here. They're on their feet very close to us, within 10 steps of me is Sean Bunner, a man who of course donned the Donegal jersey so well in recent times. Now he's up here in the stands. His brother Declan is right down in the action. But the dramatic news from the Donegal camp is that Martin Shovlin will not start the game. The Duncanini man who picked up that neck injury, it's been kept very quiet. The news was a little bit earlier that they hoped that he would have recovered significantly. But it's interesting to hear Kieran Keeney, when we talked about it a while back, Donegal went into the game in 1983 with players injured, and that was felt it was a wrong thing to do. Brian McAnuff has perhaps learned from that experience, and John Joe Doherty from Neve Columba will start the game. We aren't just sure exactly what way Donegal will decide to line out, but a very nice touch here as the full squad have their photograph taken, and certainly that's something we talked about in Letterkenny just over the weekend. The first 15 are having their photograph taken, but I'm glad to see the squad members sitting in there with them, because I always feel that it's wrong that only the 15 should have their photographs taken on a day like this, because Donegal are always quick to point out this is a squad affair. But John Joe Doherty with number 24 on his back. Well, what a turnaround in 2 years, because you may remember 2 years ago, the All-Ireland semi-final against Meath, the Neve Columba man had to withdraw from that game at a very late stage with a pelvic injury. But 2 years down the road, well, the tide's turned for him, because it's very hard luck to Martin Shovlin. He is among the substitutes, but John Joe Doherty has been brought in. The rumour has it, and we will confirm this as soon as the game starts, that he will line out, in fact, at left half back, a straight switch for Martin Shovlin. We have been speculating perhaps that he would go to corner back, and then that Barry McGowan would move out, but seemingly that's the word from the dressing room, that he will stay in at left half back. Away to our left hand side, the Dubs with a massive flag on the hill. I must say the Dubs have been very, very quiet so far. They didn't support the Leinster side in the minor final the way Donegal supported Armagh, but I suppose the rivalry between Dublin and Meath wouldn't allow them to do that. But we're waiting the arrival of the Dublin team. Michael McGee, Martin Shovlin out. I know that Brian McAnuff wouldn't want to be making changes at this late stage. Big disappointment for Martin Shovlin, obviously, but perhaps if he's not 100% fit, the right decision to make.
Well, it's a big disappointment for Martin Shovlin. It's a big disappointment, I would say, for a lot of Donegal people. But remember, the strength of this Donegal team is the panel of players they have. And no matter, they're all there practically of equal ability. So no matter who drops out, there's always a ready replacement. And you can take it from me that the man from St. Columba, John Joe Doherty, will do his part here today. I would expect, although at the moment we hear that Donegal will have John Joe Doherty at left half, I would expect that maybe John Joe would move in right full. This is only my own speculation, and that Barry McGowan, a very fast wing half, would come out there. But as I say, we'll have to wait till we see that. All in all, while it might be disappointing news that Martin's not, and I don't think that we should be that despondent about it, because with the strength of the panel, we have players to replace, as was illustrated here 4 weeks ago against Mayo when Barry Cunningham and them came in there. But I'm sure Martin will be the most disappointed man in Croke Park today.
Well, I'm sure he will, and as we watch, Dublin have arrived on the park. They're having their photograph taken again and again. Initially, the full squad having their photograph taken. The guys who have worked along with the first 15 in training, and that is a nice touch. They will move away now to give the photographers the chance to photograph just the first 15. Dublin will field as selected. We haven't heard of any late scares or any problems in that camp. Just looking at the Donegal team out warming up on the pitch, nice to see Tommy Ryan really getting involved in the build-up. Himself and Josh McMullen, Declan Bonner and Martin McHugh were forming a little quartet there, with Ryan in the middle feeding the ball to the other. I know that the Terman man was very, very disappointed to be left out of the first 15. I hope that he's got over that initial disappointment, because I certainly feel that Tommy Ryan will have a role to play here for Donegal today. I feel that if there is a change in the forward line, he will be the first man off the bench. Perhaps I could be wrong, but that would be my reading of the situation. Michael McGee, Paul McGettigan spoke to us. He spoke about the hope that Donegal wouldn't overdo the short game, but at the same time that they would mix the short game with the long game and really keep this Dublin defence on their toes, particularly their half-back line.
Well, the point that was made on Friday night, if you remember, Paddy Cullen, he said that would be the key, he felt, to the thing, and he didn't expect that the Dublin half-back line would be given the opportunity to move upfield as they had moved in the previous matches up now. He felt that they would be under constant pressure there. But it's interesting to look back, Charlie, at the meetings. This is the 6th meeting, I think it is, between Dublin and Donegal in recent years. Their first league meeting was way back in 84, 85, and when we talk about experience, there's so much made of the point that these Donegal fellas mightn't be able to stand the pressure here. But if you look back to the first meeting there in 84, 85, only John O'Leary remains of that Dublin team, whereas we have Donal Reid, Anthony Malloy, Brian Murray, Joyce McMullen, Martin McHugh and Sylvester Maguire, and they're still on duty today again. So there's plenty of experience there.
Just, Michael, we're having it confirmed that the John Joe Doherty, in fact, will be lining out at left half back. At least that's the word before the game, and that Barry McGowan will stay in the corner. But it will be interesting to see, Michael. I know perhaps speak that John Joe will go back into the full back line and Barry McGowan at corner back, but perhaps all the planning would have been around Barry McGowan being in the full back line, so perhaps Brian McAnuff will decide to leave it like that. Just looking down on the Donegal side of things again, Michael Gallagher, Brian Murray involved in a little bit of hargy-bargy and a little bit of, shoulder tapping, I would say. Brian Murray and Anthony Malloy close together. Murray has his right leg heavily strapped, the hamstring, of course, which troubled him last week. There was concern about that, but he passed a fitness test on Tuesday night on training. He's had extensive physiotherapy. Donal Reid again. Donal Reid was very doubtful, of course, with a calf muscle injury, but talking to the Red Hughes man after training on Tuesday night, he said he was delighted with the way things had went. This, in fact, could be and should be Donal Reid's last game in a county senior jersey for Donegal, because he did make it clear earlier in the Ulster campaign that this would be his last year at senior inter-county level, that he would retire due to family and business commitments. Well, wouldn't it be quite a moment for the man who's played in the county team for over 10 years if he was to go out winning an All-Ireland final with Donegal. Anthony Malloy, as usual, has the heavy strapping on his left knee. What he contributes today obviously will be of the highest importance to Donegal. But Michael, just as we look at people like the big names in the Donegal team, of course, the Martin McHughes, the Anthony Malloys, the Matt Gallaghers, there is a number of other players who I feel perhaps could have significant roles today, and I think one player I want to focus on particularly at the moment is Noel Hegarty, who has really established himself this particular year in the Donegal team. He's always been a great club player. His brother Paddy got the break into the senior team before he did, but this year Noel Hegarty, the quiet man of the defence, he goes about his work in a non-intrusive sort of a way, but he's a real hard man, and they're much respected, I know, by the rest of the players. They look to him for inspiration. I see him tilting Charlie Mulgrew shaking hands down there, but Hegarty's a man who a big game from him could have a vital bearing today.
Well, Hegarty, as we have seen this year in the campaign, is a vital link in that. But I mean, I think there's no need for us to talk about the attributes of the greatest one of all is when you get players like Barney Rock numbering him among the greats, the wing back of the competition, of the championship this year. And we know from his foraging, a very important point from a Donegal point of view is Hegarty's racing from defence there, especially maybe when an odd head is dropping there. He seems to epitomise that extra bit of spirit that one expects there. So Hegarty, I feel, important to Donegal, especially in the back line. But remember the full back line, we have Matt at full back, we have two very fast corner backs. We have Barry McGowan and Hegarty there, both of them very quick covering up and that there in the corner back position there. But maybe another player who might have a big bearing on this today, and will, I feel, have a big bearing on this today, is James McHugh. James sometimes living in the shadow of brother Martin, but when you look back at the championship this year and you see the contribution that James has made, I would refer him to the little engine room, as it were, the man who never flags, the man who never falls back, no matter how tight the going is. You'll always find James, and I feel that maybe James is another unsung hero. Of course, another Southwest man like colleague Noel Hegarty from Neve Columba, but I feel those are two men today that could have a major contribution to this game here. Centre field, as we saw from the programme, from Paddy Cullen, from Liam Hayes, Mike O'Shea, they all made the point that centre field will be vital there. If, as we said, if Donegal get the breaks there, as we know they're able to do, if they settle down early on, should be one great contest. And I could still see no reason, Charlie, why we should alter our opinion that a Donegal victory is definitely on. At the moment now I see Charlie Redmond down there practising his free kicks. That's another vital thing, of course, the free kicker in modern football with so much running and so much attacking and backs so loath to let forwards near. the goals, as it were, pulling them down outside, conceding the free in the hope that the free will be missed. That's something where today I would assume that low onus will fall on Manus Boyle to take the Donegal close ones. But don't forget that anything from 50 metres in is also well within range of Martin McHugh there.
Absolutely. Well, the sides are lining up at the moment to meet the dignitaries. Great Donegal support, of course. There's a great flag around somewhere. I don't see it flying at the moment. Milford on tour. Now there's another one away to the canal end. I just can't actually make out the writing on it at the moment. The toss of the coin took place when Michael was just talking there, and it certainly looked as if Anthony Malloy won that toss and decided to attack Hill 16 in the first half. Hill say that would mean Donegal would be playing from right to left as we look at it. Really the wind isn't a significant factor. It did get up a little bit during the second half of the minor game, but looking at the flags away on the top of the Cusick stand again, they're pretty limped, and I don't think the wind's going to play a big factor unless it gets up a little bit later. The Donegal bench, of course, Martin Shovlin, obviously, we would expect if he wasn't fit enough to start, the likelihood is he won't be fit enough to come into the game. But you have the likes of Tommy Ryan there, Charlie Mulgrew, you have the likes of Michael Gallagher, Paul Carr, John Cunningham, all very experienced players. There would be a general feeling that perhaps the Dublin bench just wouldn't have that strength and depth that the Donegal bench has. And that's a point, Michael, I think that could be significant before the end of the game. I'm going to take that point up with Michael in a moment or two about the Dublin bench. For the moment, we'll go back to the studio and take a very, very short break. You can rejoin us. We just, in fact, are about 10 minutes away from the start of the All-Ireland final. Donegal's first. Rejoin us after this break. You're welcome back. Well, the President of Ireland, Mrs. Mary Robison, with a strong Donegal connection herself, of course, in the Inishowen Peninsula, and she's been a regular visitor to Donegal since she became President, and always welcome to the Northwest. Been introduced to the Donegal team by the team captain, Anthony Malloy, meeting Noel Hegarty, Matt Gallagher, Barry McGowan and Gary Walsh, the big Ballyshannon man, now playing for Byrne and County Down, of course, at the end of the line there. Peter Quinn, the president of the GAA, also there, and the president's wife, Mr. Robison, also there. But wonderful day, of course. Michael McGee, just a point about the two benches. The point's been made by everyone, of course, about the strength in the Donegal squad and the people that Brian McAniff has at his disposal. But I think really the general feeling is that perhaps the Dublin bench wouldn't have that strength and depth.
I don't think they would have, Charlie. A point that a lot of people are making, they're talking about this Donegal team, but you must remember that this is a first for a lot of that Dublin team too, and it'll be interesting to see how they react to All-Ireland Day as well. I wouldn't have any doubts about Donegal's ability to be able to handle the occasion, because Cloners with 30 or 40,000 is more intimidating, I feel, than a Croke Park at an Ulster final there. So overall, I would feel Donegal would have the edge on the bench anyway.
Okay, Michael, what a wonderful scene here, and it's just wonderful to be part of it here. This match, of course, being brought to you in association with Finn Valley Oil, and we'd like to again thank our major sponsors for today's coverage here from Croke Park for their generosity and tremendous support and then enabling us to bring this coverage of Highland Radio's first All-Ireland final, of course, to you. Many thanks again to Finn Valley Oil, and of course to Telecom as well for providing us with phone facilities for today's match. Well, away to our right-hand side, a fantastic sight of green and gold, and the Armagh orange and white mixed in there as well. That's where the main contingent of Donegal supporters are concentrated, of course. Lots in the Hogan stand and the Cusick stand making themselves heard. We can't obviously have the benefit of seeing them, but we can see the canal end, and it certainly will be something, I'm sure, that will live in the memory of every Donegal man who's here today, that on the 20th of September 1992, when Donegal played in their first All-Ireland final, the people of Donegal took over the canal end at Croke Park, and Croke Park to be newly furnished, of course, and a lot of construction to take place in the next year or so. So perhaps the next time Donegal come here, it'll be a different looking Croke Park, and the canal end will not be as it is today. Today it's totally, Donegal, apart from a small number of Armagh people who are in there really supporting Donegal as well. But a fantastic scene. Again, over to our left-hand side, close to the hill. The hill, of course, is a sea of dark and navy blue and light blue. But over there as well, close to them, there's a mixture of Donegal flags, Armagh flags and Dublin flags as well. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of good banter there. And indeed, in the middle of the Cusick stand, both the lower and the upper deck, a sea of Donegal flags, Armagh flags intermingled as well. But certainly absolutely fantastic support for Donegal, and I know there was a lot of criticism and a lot of disappointment regarding the ticket allocation, but it would certainly look anyway, looking across here, that tickets have they've appeared from somewhere for many people, because Donegal are certainly not lacking in support, and I know from past experience that they will be as verbal as any supporters could possibly be on an All-Ireland final day. The first time that Donegal have ever been here, of course, beaten in 4 previous semi-finals in 72, 74, 83 and 90, before finally making the breakthrough in 92 by beating Mayo. Well, Michael McGee, just casting our mind back to the whole championship campaign here for Donegal today. The Breffni Park seems a long way away. Back in the opening round of the championship, there was a few heart-stopping moments that particular day when they went 5 points down in the first half before McHugh or Tony Boy's controversial goal got them back into it. Then when they were 2.6 down again, and McHugh knocked over a couple of great points, Noel Hegarty scored one. It seems in distant memory, but perhaps the determination that they showed that day, Michael, should have lent us to believe that perhaps there was hope that on the 20th of September Donegal would be here.
Well, that's the hallmark of this team, different from other Donegal teams, as the character. They come back when the chips are down, as it were. They never give up fighting. And if you were thinking back to that Breffni and to that point that Cavan got again, it would break the hearts of many as a team. But we were quite confident that day that when the replay came in Ballybofey, and of course they stepped up. A lot of people say their display against Fermanagh was lacklustre, but remember this, that no matter what county team goes out to play, you're talking at a high level of football there. While the display mightn't have been what everybody would have liked, it was still a workmanlike display. And then of course you come to the Ulster final. If you remember back, Charlie, if you could play the tape, I remember at half time you saying to me, what do you think will happen? And I said, Charlie, this is time for novenas. But they came out in the second half, Charlie, and that day with 14 men showed the kind of grit, determination and guts that wins All-Ireland finals. And I would have to say this, looking back over the last number of years, any team which won the All-Ireland had a close call early on. You take down the year before they had it, maybe Donegal had it that day and Breffni there. But that said and all, this team has the character, this team has the ability, this team believe in themselves. And watching them marching around there now, they've seemed quite at ease, quite unconcerned. It's the type of march around you get at Ballybofey, you'd get at Ballyshannon or anywhere else. They seem quite content, they seem quite happy. So I wouldn't in any way doubt their ability to rise to the occasion. They've proved in the championship and the fight up to now, they've proved that they have that grit. People talk about their match against Mayo and all this type of thing, they're a bad team. It takes a good team to shoot 16 wides and win by 4 points, Charlie.
Well, Michael, we've had the traditional huddle now of the two teams, something which of course has come across from the sport of rugby perhaps, but both Dublin with their captain Tommy Carr calling his players into the middle, and of course Donegal with team captain Anthony Malloy, the man from Ardra, such a motivating figure over years. Of course, this time last year Anthony Malloy was considering his future, and if you heard the interview we had with him, well, a year's a long time and what a difference it makes. John Joe Doherty, it looks to all intents and purposes that John Joe Doherty will be lining out at the left half back and will be Martin Charlie Redmond. They're coming close together. Well, there's no handshake there. Martin Gavigan and Jack Sheedy, a handshake between the two of them. Two big strong men. Vinnie Murphy and Matt Gallagher exchange one or two pleasantries there. And after around the vein, it'll be time for the start of the All-Ireland final for 1992. Wonderful scenes here at Croke Park, and I again emphasise what an honour it is for us to be here today, bringing you live coverage of the 1992 All-Ireland final. Certainly we've covered big matches in the last 2.5 years, but as we talked to Pio earlier on, and to Michael a short time ago, and to Paul McGettigan, nothing compares like the atmosphere that is around this pitch today. There's a wonderful feeling. I know that some group of supporters, some one of these teams, was well a likelihood they're going to end up with disappointed because you'll get pretty long odds on a draw here today, but certainly being involved in it and actually being here to commentate it on it and to cover it for the listeners back in the Northwest is a tremendous honour for us. We're moments away from the start of the final. Tommy Strugru, the Kerry man, will be the referee, of course. We're delighted to welcome our listeners down in Kerry and in Clare and in Limerick and in Cork who are taking Highland Radio's coverage of this. A great honour for us to be bringing you live coverage here from Croke Park. We certainly hope you enjoy our coverage this afternoon, and as I said, we're delighted that you have taken the time to tune into it. Keith Barr gives Martin McHugh a little nudge. I'm sure there's going to be one or two of those before this game's over, and the game is on. Brian Murray knocks it down to Anthony Malloy. Donegal get the first possession. Malloy knocks it forward looking for Tony Boyd. Boyd's out in front of Hargan, but he was fouled by Hargan, and Donegal are going to have a free from 40 metres, and this free is going to be taken by Martin McHugh. Murray to Malloy was the opening salvo in the midfield battle between those two, and Clark and Foran. Dave Foran's had a traumatic year. He's been taken off in a couple of matches, but he's in there today. Keith Barr stands in front of McHugh. This one's more or less dead straight in front of goals, about 42 metres out. McHugh chipped it with the left foot, but that one's going to drift to the right, and it drifts wide. Keith Barr has a little word with McHugh. Perhaps, we can imagine what's going on between the two of them. A little talk between them. McHugh seems to be just having a little smile to himself. A little nudge on Barr there, and John O'Leary's placed the ball on the edge of the small parallelogram. So Donegal attacking the same end as they attacked in the semi-final against Mayo. The first shot that day was a wide, the first shot today is a wide. Keith Barr gets the ball outside his own 45-metre line. He's tackled by Manus Boyle, fouled by Manus Boyle. Manus Boyle not happy with the referee's decision there, but Tommy Strugru says it was a free, and that's all that really matters. Barr getting to his feet again, rather gingerly. Dealt a heavy knock. Paul Curran, whose father was in the Meath lineup 25 years ago. They were the winners of the All-Ireland final. They were presented to the crowd. Barrs recovered sufficiently to take the free himself. A great kicker of a dead ball. Jack Sheedy knocked the ball down there to Paul Clark. Paul Clark trying to get onto the right, but forced onto the left by Martin Gallagher. Press the ball forward to Jack Sheedy again. There's a chance here for Dublin, but again Jack Sheedy turns in. He gives it back to Eamon Heary. Eamon Heary takes him in the standing position, gives it to Paul Clark. Paul Clark's shot is away up in the air. Anthony Malloy, Noel Hegarty, John Joe Doherty, they'll go for it. Murphy has it. Murphy was fouled. It's going to be a free to Dublin. Murphy won the first battle in the air, and himself and Matt Gallagher give themselves a little reminder. It's going to be a free to Dublin and an opportunity for Charlie Redmond to open the scoring. We've just got a minute and 58 seconds gone, so we'll just be over the 2-minute mark when Charlie Redmond perhaps knocks this one over the bar. For just on the wrong side for a right-footed kicker, but on the 21-metre line it should be pretty easy meat for Charlie Redmond, one of the best placed kickers in the business, of course. Redmond following in the footsteps of the great Barney Rock. The Donegal supporters behind the goals trying to put him off. Nervous times, of course, for Redmond, taking a long run round the ball. He tipped it and he tipped it over the bar, and Donegal have missed the free, but Charlie Redmond makes no mistake with the opening score. After 2 minutes and 20 seconds, Dublin take the lead. Dublin are attacking the canal end. That's where all the Donegal supporters, at least the most of them, are. Donegal attacking Hill 16, of course, where the Dublins are there en masse. John Joe Doherty with number 24 on his back has replaced Martin Shovlin in the Donegal team. Shovlin with a neck injury had to withdraw before the start of the game. Gary Walsh coming forward, kicks the ball. A good kick it is, dropping well down, but it's Dublin's Keith Barr who gets there. Barr busting forward. James McHugh goes across, tackles him high, and it's going to be another free, and Barr certainly a couple of heavy knocks for him. Eamon Heary wants to take it quickly. Long ball forward looking for Murphy again, but Noel Hegarty coming forward, fits the ball down. A good fist that comes to Jack Sheedy. Jack Sheedy's on the ground, he gives it to Niall Guyden. Niall Guyden with an opportunity, hits the ball. It looks good. Gary Walsh is knocked into the net by Vinnie Murphy, but the referee will award a free out. He takes it quickly and gives it to Donal Reid. Donal Reid steps inside, gives it to Noel Hegarty. Donegal playing short football out of defence. The ball's out to Malloy. Malloy close to the sideline, forcing his way forward. He's been tackled and held by Dave Foran. Malloy trying to take the quick free. The Dubliners won't allow him to do it. Tommy Strugru tells him to get back again. Brian Murray's beside the big Ardra man, but Malloy plays it along with the left foot, looking for James McHugh. It's over the head. Tony Boyle will come on to this one. Boyle has it. He's got James McHugh running forward. If he sees him, James McHugh's right in space, but Tony Boyle hasn't seen him. Boyle's on the 21-metre line. He shoots on the right foot, but he shoots wide, and there was a good opportunity there if Tony Boyle had spotted James McHugh. running forward right in behind the Dublin defence, but the Dunloe man decided to go himself. But certainly that's a couple of times now that Tony Boyle's got to the ball in front of Jerry Harrigan, but perhaps if he had have looked up and seen James McHugh, it would have been a better option for Donegal on that occasion. It stays Dublin 1 point, Donegal no score. There's 4 minutes and 10 seconds gone. David Foran feeds that one high above Anthony Malloy, plays the ball forward into the corner. Barry McGowan's out there, and a good tackle by Barry McGowan on Mick Galvin, but the ball comes to Niall Guyden. Guyden's got a man inside him if he sees him, but Guyden deciding to take on and Donnery. Now he puts it inside. Mick Galvin's inside. There's danger here for Donegal. Mick Galvin shoots, and Mick Galvin gets the second point of the game, and certainly the Donegal defenders been caught out of position by the quick ball forward. Barry McGowan made a good tackle there, but the ball broke away. Galvin got possession, gave it to Guyden, and then Galvin was able to run into the space again. So coming up to the 5th minute of the game, just under that, in fact, Dublin have made the steadier start. It's Dublin 2 points, Donegal no score, but Donegal have had their opportunities, but they haven't taken them. Matt Goller and Vinnie Murphy involved in a little bit of argy-bargy there just in front of Jerry Walsh. Murphy wants to block it down. Gallagher's trying to prevent him. The referee Sugru has a word with both men. The bar-chested Vinnie Murphy, of course. Walsh's kicks a good one again. Malloy going for it, but his hands get there, but feet comes to Keith Barr again. Keith Barr forcing his way forward. Seems to have had 2 hops by Keith Barr. The referee said he overcarried the ball, and it's going to be a free out. Vinnie Murphy holds the ball, gets a little knock from Noel Hegarty. Throws his arm up in a gesture, throws the ball behind him now, and it's going to be a free to Donegal just on the halfway line. Keith Barr, 2 hops there as he tried to barge his way forward. The referee Sugru's seen him and awarded the free. This free probably be taken by Martin McHugh. It's on the 70-metre line, just inside it. In fact, Tony Boyle trying to get in front of Jerry Harrigan. There's a lot of movement down in there. Declan Boner's moving to the right as well. Tommy Carr marking him. A foul off the ball there. The referee says play on, however. Eamon Heary threw James McHugh to the ground just as that free was been taken. Noel Hegarty goes for it. Murphy has it again. Murphy's tackle, he gives it inside. Jack Sheedy, however, seemed to be fouled by Martin Gallagher, but the referee says play on. Brian Murray's in space, but this is John Joe Doherty. The first touch for the man who was brought in. He gives it to Barry McGowan. Donegal playing the short ball out of defence. Malloy has it. Malloy takes a heavy knock from David Foran. He's fouled by Foran, and Malloy's not going to be allowed to move. Again, the long ball forward looking for Tony Boyle. Very close to the sideline, however, and not a good ball forward. Tony Boyle could do nothing about that. Donegal playing well out of defence, but perhaps the quicker ball forward would be the better thing to do. Boyle has shown, as he did in the semi-final, he's well able to get out there in front of the full back. Paul Clark takes that one, comes up. Brian Murray does well. In front of Paul Clark. Murray, first touch, long ball forward, looking for Boyle again. Tommy Carr's across, however, and picks that one out. This is Carr, the Dublin captain. He plays it down into the corner, looking for Desi Farr. Desi Farr misjudges the hop. Murphy's there with Matt Goller. Matt Goller's done well on that occasion. Right with the big governor. Now it's Martin Gavigan, forward to Declan Boner. Away out in the left half forward position. Declan Boner looking for support inside him, but he hasn't got it. He's tackled and pushed to the ground by Jack Sheedy, and that's going to be a foul to Donegal, but there wasn't a lot of movement forward for Donegal on that occasion. Both midfielders behind the ball. Declan Boner looking for Tony Boyle. Jerry Harrigan's out in front of him, making it very difficult for the Dunloe man. A good ball in there by Declan Boner, a big one in. The ball, reckon ball comes to James McHugh. There's a chance of a goal. A brilliant goal. It hit the crossbar, does it? It hit the crossbar, comes out to Martin McHugh, and he tipped it over the bar. But the wee man from Kilcar, James McHugh, almost rifled that one into the top corner of the net. John O'Leary was beaten all ends up, and Michael McGee, that would have been a dramatic first score.
It would have, and everything was right. He shot right, he shot at the right angle, but just unfortunately, that was just those few millimetres too high, Charlie. But now, notwithstanding that, the point was just enough reward there.
A foul on Eamon Heary by Tony Boyle, so Donegal get their first score on the board. Just over 7.5 minutes gone in the game. Dublin 2 points, Donegal 1. A good open game of football so far. Credit to both teams. We haven't seen much of the physical aspect of it, and the off-the-ball incidents that have perhaps spoiled some games. It's hard, it's tough. There is a little bit of argy-bargy, but they're strong, fit men. That won't do them a lot of harm. Credit to both teams for that at the moment anyway. A long ball forward with Barr again. Matt Goller going for it. Knocks it down. Matt Goller got hands to it. The ball's on the ground. There's a chance for Dublin. Desi Farr had it. He's going through. He shoots and he shoots wide. And the referee says it's a penalty. There's a push on Desi Farr, and Tommy Sugru has awarded a penalty. And it's going to be Mick Galvin to take this penalty by the looks of things, is it? Well, certainly Desi Farr got his shot on goal. Tommy Sugru was right in there, but the referee decided it was going to be a penalty. Well, it's not Mick Galvin. In fact, Desi Farr going through. Well, indeed, perhaps Noel Hegarty, a little push on him, but perhaps a harsh sort of a decision there by Tommy Sugru. There was hands there, but really, was it enough to award a penalty? He got his shot in. This is Charlie Redmond. Charlie Redmond shooting. Charlie Redmond shoots and he blasts the ball wide. and so the nerves that we saw with Martin McHugh at the start. I felt it was a harsh penalty, Michael, perhaps. Noel Hegarty now getting his finger pointed at by Tommy Sugar. I felt that was a harsh award of a penalty.
Well, it looked fairly harsh there because, I mean, he gave young Farrell the advantage of, I felt, over carrying there, and maybe the wide is a just reward there, because I feel it would have been a very, very harsh decision if a goal had been scored there.
Well, it was blasted wide and well wide by Charlie Redmond. Will that be a lift for Donegal? I wonder. Anthony Malloy goes for it before none of them get to it. It's Dublin who are getting all the breaking ball, and it's their half forward line coming forward. Paul Clark well tackled by James McHugh. Clark gets the return, gives it to Heary. Heary can't take it first time, but he's got it now. Heary knocks the ball long into the middle again. McGalvin has it. Barry McGowan's too far away from him. Now McGowan makes a good tackle, and the ball, well, the referee awards a free to Barry McGowan. The Killybegs man did well, but he'll have to get closer to that to McGalvin. Donald Reid thought about the short one, but now he's going to take the long one. So an exciting start of missed penalty, a shot crashing off the crossbar. 2 points for Dublin, just the one for Donegal. The short free is in fact taken to Murray. Murray plays the ball into the corner looking for Boyle again. Tony Boyle got hands to it but wasn't able to hold it. Second Boyle comes across, but the ball's knocked out to McDeegan. He gives it to Tommy Carr. Not a great pass up to Dave Foran. Foran inside his own 45-metre line. Not a good ball to Jack Sheedy, but Sheedy should be able to get this one. In fact, it's John Joe Doherty trying to close him down. A long ball forward. Matt Gallagher slips. Vinnie Murphy has it. Matt Gallagher's there with him, forcing him out. Vinnie Murphy shoots. It's 15, and the umpire awards a point there. He has a better view of it than we have, but certainly from where we looked, that ball certainly seemed to drift wide, but the umpire awarded the point. So it's 3 points to 1, and I'll be very interested to see the replay on that one. Perhaps hard to tell again. Vinnie Murphy shooting from away out. The ball seemed to be swinging away to the left. Well, if that one went over the bar, it just went over the tip of the far post, I can tell you, because by the time it came down, it was about 14 yards wide. Gary Walsh, the long play again. No clean possession in midfield so far. This is Manus Boyle, the first touch for the Killybegs man. He's got possession, but he's working his way across. Plays a long ball in, but it's, well, pointless playing those balls into the goalkeeper. Certainly Manus Boyle need to put a bit more thought into his play than that, and I think Brian Murray's telling him exactly that, because that's the corner that he himself should be in. Tony Boyle having a word with him as well. Perhaps Manus Boyle needed that touch to get rid of the nerves. 3 points to 1 Dublin lead. 11 minutes and 11 seconds gone in the first half of this All-Ireland final. Brought to you in association with Finn Valley Oil. Donald Reid and Anthony Malloy, the two Donegal men going for it. It's knocked down to Declan Bonner. Declan has it in front of Tommy Carr. Steps beautifully inside him. Plays a long ball forward, but it's not a good one. Jerry Hargan has it this time in front of Tony Boyle. Hargan's under pressure around him. Two Donegal players seem to hold possession for a long time. He's allowed to clear it out to Tommy Carr. Tommy Carr ships a heavy knock there from Tony Boyle. The Dublin captain plays it down the line. A good ball looking for Murphy. Matt Gallagher's right with him. Barry McGowan should be able to pick this one up in a lot of space. McGowan has it. He's got support behind him. He's going to be tackled by Dessie Fard. He is thrown to the ground by Dessie Fard, and it's going to be a free. Barry McGowan plays the ball forward again. This is Donald Reid well forward. Donald Reid's got James McHugh running off him. He gives the ball out to Anthony Malloy, however. Malloy gives it in to Manus Boyle. Manus Boyle feeds the ball well. Turns away. He's got men inside him. James McHugh in the 21-metre line. Flicks the ball. That's a super score from James McHugh. So James McHugh hit the crossbar a little bit earlier on. Follows a good example of his brother Martin. He got the Donegal first score. James McHugh's got the second score. 12 minutes and 12 seconds gone. And Michael McGee, it doesn't look to me as if Donegal are overawed by this occasion at all.
No, and I think they've proved the point there. If you run at these Dublin backs, they're quite capable, that forward line, of handling them there. The only problem that I see at the moment here is Vinnie Murphy.
John O'Leary takes the kick out. Paul Clark and Brian Murray go for it. Clark gets hands to it and he's able to get the breaking ball himself. He's been tackled by Martin McHugh. The ball's knocked forward to Dessie Fard. He's out in front of Noel Hegarty. He gives the ball in there to Charlie Redmond. Charlie Redmond's 40 metres out. Charlie Redmond shoots. That looks to be good, does it? No, the umpires had a long, hard look at it. Very hard to tell, I can tell you, at the angle just exactly what's happening with those shots. But that one, well, it didn't just look as if it was going to curl in enough. Plenty of height, plenty of distance on it. Charlie Redmond has moved to centre half forward as he did in the All-Ireland semi-final against Clare. Jack Sheedy's out at right half forward, but the Donegal defence have stayed as they are. Martin Gavigan, Markin, Redmond, John Joe Doherty, Mark and Sheedy. Brian Murray feeds the ball beautifully ahead of Paul Clark. Good fielding by him. A good ball forward. Jerry Hargan, well, almost misjudged it. Knocks it down now to McDeegan. Good intelligent play by the full-back. Knocks the ball out. John Joe Doherty does well to get there, but Jack Sheedy grabs it. Again, the players, like they did in the minor game, slipping on the slippy surface here at Croke Park. Jack Sheedy's ball knocked forward. Michael McGee, I've been amazed by the number of players who are not able to keep their footing. Perhaps it's the lush surface in Croke Park, but on a dry day like this you would expect players not to be slipping about so much.
Well, the only thing, sure, there was a lot of heavy rain early on this morning, and probably the surface is quite greasy underneath.
The ball knocked forward. Joyce McMullen trying to get there. We haven't seen too much from him so far, but the ball comes down to Paul Clark. Paul Clark chipped a knock. In fact, it was Dave Bourne to Paul Clark. Now down again. Hegarty out in front of fire. The ball's knocked down again. Martin Gadigan trying to get there. Charlie Redmond has it, however. Charlie Redmond's inside the 14. Hegarty does brilliantly. Great play by the Neath Columba man. Picks the ball up. He's got support outside of him. John Joe Doherty, his clubmate. He was fouled. A heavy knock by the elbow. And some of the Donegal players not too happy about that challenge by Charlie Redmond. And the referee, Tommy Sugru, having a look there at Noel Hegarty. That was a very dangerous challenge there on Noel Hegarty. And the elbow, of course, has been overused in championship football this year. Charlie Redmond coming in very strong. Here comes Getty Farr. Redmond coming in there. Hits Hegarty. Now he gets the slap from Noel. I think it was a combination of the Dublin men, really. The higher tackle came from Farrell there. The chest high tackle came from Charlie Redmond. Tommy Sugru had a word about it. There's a little bit of argy-bargy going on. Tempers becoming a little bit frayed. So perhaps what we expected to start from the early stages of the game is going to come into play in the next few minutes, because certainly tempers a little bit frayed. Murray and Malloy were doing a little bit of sorting out, for want of a better description there, to the bigger men in the Donegal team. Manus Boy trying to get there. He got hands to it, but it's picked up by Dave Bourne. He was tackled high by Anthony Malloy, and it's going to be a free. Two big men clashing there. Jack Sheedy going in very strong on one or two players. Brian Murray going in strong, very strong as well on his Garda partner here in Dublin. So perhaps they'll meet down about O'Connell Street and have a word about that one some fine evening on duty. But certainly it was the Donegal man who came out the better of that one. Murray throwing his shoulder into Sheedy. Sheedy hit the ground like a stone, but was quickly to his feet again. But all's fair in love and war. And of course a special request from the Gardaí up in Donegal for the Donegal team. Jack Sheedy, a member of the force as well. But himself and Brian Murray are two big strong men. That won't affect them too greatly. Keith Barr, a good kicker of a dead ball. This is a good one. Malloy's trying to get there. Vinnie Murphy, however, feels again. Murphy forcing his way through, trying to get through, but he's well tackled. He's on the ground. Donegal men all around him. Murphy has it again. Gives it back to Sheedy. Sheedy shoots. And that's the fourth point of the game for Dublin. And in fact, Vinnie Murphy proving a big handful for Matt Gallagher in there. Very dangerous in the air. Dublin are trying to find him on every occasion, and they're playing good intelligent balls into him. And Michael McGee, Matt Gallagher certainly having his hands full in there today.
Well, at the moment we would have to put Murphy well ahead on points there, Charlie, but I feel maybe John Joe Doherty maybe might be moved into around that full back line maybe later on. We'll see how it goes, but at the moment anyway, Murphy is definitely dominant in the air there and is creating all kinds of problems.
Murray Walsh kicks the ball out again. This one's a low one. James McHugh tried to get there. Donald Reid tried to get there. The ball's knocked forward. Matt Gallagher, what he's good at, coming out in front of the full back, fits the ball forward to Martin Gavigan. We haven't seen too much of Gavigan. He gives it to McHugh. We haven't seen too much of him yet either, trying to force his way forward. He's fouled, however. The referee has a word with Sheedy. The ball comes to John Joe Doherty. John Joe gives it to Murray. Murray on the left foot decides to shoot himself, but that one's going to be well wide. And John Joe Doherty has a strong, determined word there with Brian Murray. Certainly there was something on for Donegal if he'd have flicked the ball out to Joyce McMullen. But Murray decided to shoot himself. Not a good decision in the end. If it had went over the bar, of course, we would have been saying it would have been a great decision. 16, 17 minutes gone, just short of that. In fact, a couple of seconds. John O'Leary, the play is hectic. The ball is knocked out again. Murray and Malloy both going for it. Murray got hands to it and holds it well. Murray's had a good start to the game. Flicked it to James McHugh. He's got room just to run in front of him. Dave Bourne trying to close him down. McHugh's going forward. McHugh's fouled. The Dublin players appealed. Well, didn't look to be very much wrong with the challenge from here. We are a fair bit away from it, but Eamon here, he caught out of possession. Brian Murray's done well in the midfield area. A couple of clean catches from him, and that certainly is going to be a vital area. An opportunity for Narasta Declan Boner to get his first point ever in the All-Ireland final. He's about 26 metres out, perhaps a little bit, well, I would say 25, 26 metres out, slightly to the right of goal, taken towards the hill 16, on the left foot. He tips it, and he tips it over the bar, and there's a point between them again. Dublin 4 points, Donegal 3 points. Everyone said that there was nothing between these two sides. Everyone said it was going to be a 50-50 game. Well, with halfway through the first half, that certainly looks the way it's going to be. But of course there's 3/4 of the game to go yet. Anything could happen. Both sides have had their goal opportunities. James McHugh crashed one off the underside of the crossbar when clean through. Charlie Redmond knocked a penalty well wide. Good play again there by Murray. The ball's knocked down, but the referee decided there was a bit of holding going on. Tommy Sugru having a word with Brian Murray. A little smile between the two of them. Sugru thinks he's right, Murray thinks he's wrong, but you wouldn't expect anything else. Paul Clark with the right foot, dropping it in for Murphy again. He gets both hands to it, but Matt Gallagher does well this time. Martin Gavigan, a long clearance, looking for Declan Boner. Declan Boner getting the pace ahead of Tommy Carr. Tommy Carr, brilliant play, gives it to Malloy. Donegal moving well. Inside to Tony Boyle, this is brilliant play. Tony Boyle's right in behind the defence. He's got Manus Boyle, but Tony Boyle's still there. He gives it to Manus Boyle. Manus Boyle off the crossbar and over the bar. And for the second time in the game, Donegal with a goal opportunity. Perhaps Tony Boyle should have shot himself with the left foot. Manus Boyle drilled it and hit the upper side of the crossbar this time. Michael McGee should Tony Boyle have taken it himself. Tony Boyle stepping inside the defender. Perhaps he felt he was on his left foot. Well, Mick Deegan was blocking him. Manus Boyle on the left foot. It hit the crossbar and went over. Another goal opportunity.
Well, if Dublin won this one, Charlie, they should take that crossbar and put it out in Parnell Park or something as a souvenir, because that's two that have bounced off it. But we've come to the point now, like where Donegal, the 10 minutes or the usual top 10 minutes are over, and Donegal have proved that they can be there. So they're
4 points all. It couldn't be evener, but it could be 5 points to 4. That's a brilliant score from Jack Sheedy, is it? Yes, indeed it is. A great score from the Dublin right half forward, wearing number 11, the big Dublin-based Garda. Well, Gary Walsh isn't too impressed with the umpire's decision there, but certainly looked to me that one was more of a point than the one that was awarded for Vinnie Murphy a little bit earlier on. But the umpires are the men who counts. Tommy Sugru is very happy with their decision. 19 3/4 minutes gone. Dublin 5 points, Donegal 4 points. Nothing between these two sides. Both sets of forwards have shown that they're well capable of opening both sets of defences. Brian Murray and Paul Clark go for it again. The hands get there. There's a lot of holding again. Brian Murray appeals that he was being held as well. Tommy Surgo, however, has his attention on Brian Murray for the moment, and he's awarding the freeze against him. Paul Clark was fouled, but it'll be Keith Barr who'll take this one from right up the halfway line. Brian Murray waking his way back in towards the 14-metre line. Martin Gavigan telling him to get there. This time it's the big midfielder with number 9 on his back who's the extra man. Matt Gallagher trying to get in front of Murphy. There's a lot of argy-bargy going on. Manus Boyle been told to get away. Keith Barr kicks this one, looking for Murphy. Murray's going for it. All the hands are up. Well, Murphy was up on the back of someone there, and the referee says yes. Well, Murphy can get up on Nathan Height, but even he can't jump that high without getting some assistance. If the Concar had been gone over, he would have been a front seat passenger on it on that occasion. Gary Walsh will take this free from the 14-metre line. 5 points to 4, Dublin lead. 21 minutes almost gone. Gary Walsh, best in green, looking for the short one. Brian McAniff was having a word with Anthony Malloy away over on the far side. The Donegal support, you're well able to hear them, I'm sure, getting behind their team. The canal end is a sea of hands clapping and flags waving. Gary Walsh with the kick out. James McHugh comes onto it. He's not able to hold it first time, but now he has it. Eamon Heary fouls him. James McHugh's done well in possession today, looking for the quick one, but decides not to take it. Gavigan instead will take it. Knocks the ball forward, looking for Declan Bonner. Tony Boyle seemed to be fouled there. Tommy Carr has possession, forcing his way out. He seemed to be fouled by Declan Bonner, but the referee says play on. Murphy has this one. Matt Gallagher's right with him. Murphy bounces the ball. Brilliant interception by Matt Gallagher. Gives it the forward to Declan Bonner. Now Matt Gallagher's on his game, it seems. This is Malloy. Malloy cutting round Eamon Heary. Joyce McMullen trying to make a run. This is Malloy still in possession. Gives it to McHugh. McHugh steps inside the tackle. Donegal have extra men inside. McHugh's going forward. He's on the left foot. He's 30 metres out. He knocks over the equaliser. A brilliant score from Martin McHugh. Great play from Donegal. Well, Donegal at their best there. Matt Gallagher, a brilliant interception from Vinnie Murphy's attempted pass. The play's on again. Eamon Heary's taking the short free out. Plays the ball forward. John Joe Doherty trying to get there. Gavigan comes forward. Malloy gets a hand to it. Blocks it down. He's not able to take it. Murray has it. There's men all over the place. Martin Gavigan takes it. Gives it to McHugh. Donegal taking the ball at speed. McHugh going forward. Gives it to James McHugh. He gets the challenge from Heary. Knocks the ball forward to Declan Bonner. Declan Bonner's on the left foot. And Donegal are in the lead. A brilliant score from Donegal. 2 great points in a minute. And that's Donegal at their best. Short passes. The man coming on at speed. 22.5 minutes gone. It's Donegal 6 points. Dublin 5 points. Donegal in the lead. Michael McGee in the last minute and a half. We've seen them at their best.
Well, it's obvious that these Dublin backs are very vulnerable when you run at them. And if you look at these balls coming through from the centre of the field, they're all at sea. But all credit to the Donegal half-forward line for the way they're moving there and picking off the scores.
James McHugh's the man that's making them pick at the moment. Brian Murray's brilliant in midfield. They combine again. McHugh has to be fouled. He takes it to Murray. They're playing brilliantly, Donegal. The movement there. Brian Murray with an opportunity to make up for the previous miss. But the big man shooting boots are not on. And Declan Bonner and Martin McHugh, I can tell you, are exchanging pleasantries with them. And we're too far away to hear them. But I'm sure on a good Sunday, the language wouldn't be too choice. Declan Bonner had a real go at him, because I think I have to agree with Declan Bonner there. There was 2 men inside. Murray's doing brilliantly in midfield, but he should be releasing the ball to the men who are taking the scores. But that's not a criticism. 6 points to 5. Donegal lead. 23.5 minutes gone. Donegal support are getting right behind them. Donegal are doing all the good moving at the moment. Anthony Malloy getting there ahead of Dave Bourne. The Dublin man seemed to be sleeping, but Malloy had to be held, and it's going to be a free to Donegal, and it's going to be taken by Martin McHugh. Well, as Michael McGee said, Donegal Not the greatest of starters. It usually takes them a while to warm up, but certainly they've warmed to their game. And the two men I feel who are doing brilliantly for them have to be James McHugh and have to be Brian Murray. Tony Boyle hasn't done bad either, mind you. He's in possession now. Joyce McMullen we haven't seen from him. Tony Boyle's pulled to the ground, and Dublin conceding a lot of frees. Jerry Hargan's not too happy about that decision. Well, really, he can't complain. Well, Manus Boyle, you're brought into the side to knock over frees from 30 and 40 metres from the left-hand side of the park. I said to Manus on Tuesday night, up in Keeney after training, there's a little bit of pressure on you, my young man. You have a point or two to prove. Well, he promised me he would prove that Brian McAniff was right bringing him in. Perhaps an unfair thing to say, but Manus, this is your first opportunity from a free to do exactly that. Tommy Sugrue tells him to get on with it. The Killybegs man coming forward. He chips it. Well, he couldn't have put it more clearly down the middle when he put it there. So perhaps you people back in the northwest watching and listening here today, Manus Boyle, well, he's done the first job that he's been brought in for. He couldn't have answered in a more positive manner, Michael.
No, that justifies Manus being on there. A lot of people felt he shouldn't have been on, but for his free-taking ability as well. But the interesting point at this stage with the Donegal forward line and top gear, the only answer that Dublin back seem to have is pulled them down.
Donegal lead by 7 points to 5. Jack Sheedy has it, but he's out over the sideline and it's a line ball. John Joe Doherty's a tough little character. The ball's knocked forward again, looking for Tony Boyle. He's out in front again. He gives it to Manus Boyle. Manus Boyle gives it into Tony Boyle again. The Donegal forwards are rampant at the moment. Tony Boyle's there. Another score for Donegal, and it's 8 points to 5. And this is a brilliant performance for the Donegal forwards. Quick movement of the ball. The man in possession, determined, the man going. If you could only see the canal end, well, you can't see the canal end if you're watching on your TV cameras, because it's a fantastic sight. The Armagh flags, and congratulations to them, as we expected. They're right in behind Donegal's support. Tony Boyle, the young man from Dunlow, he made the point on Tuesday night to me. He's plenty of experience. He's already played in Railway Cup, 3 Ulster finals. He's 22 years of age. He's going well today. So Brian Murray gets hands to it again, but Eamon Heary gets the breaking ball this time. Eamon Heary, well tackled, still going forward. Plays the ball looking for Murphy. Noel Hegarty's there. Jesse Farr has it. Must be a goal here. No, he takes the point. But again, well, the Donegal full back line are having a little bit of trouble because Noel Hegarty seemed to be favoured to get that ball. Jesse Farr fielded it brilliantly, but the corner forward had a great goal opportunity and didn't take it. Michael McGee, it's interesting that the line in the Donegal's defence that we thought was their strongest perhaps has been proven to be the weak link at the moment.
Well, we always looked upon them as the strong link, but they're getting caught with that long ball, and I think maybe Murphy is having a disturbing effect there, that the two wing backs maybe are keeping a half eye on him there.
26 minutes and 22 seconds gone. Donegal lead 8-6. The ball's in breaking ball again. Malloy gets it. He's got Brian Murray to the side, but he's fouled. He'll want to take the quick one. Donald Reid's making a great run, but Martin McHugh says, let's settle it down. Well, perhaps a good decision. Experience hit. Martin Gavigan sees a bit of movement. It's a good ball by Martin Gavigan and looking for Tony Boyle. Seems to be pushed by Jerry Hargan, but the referee says no. Mick Deegan sweeps up behind, gives it out to Paul Curran. Wasn't a good ball. Curran's close to the touchline. He's got a lot to do with it. He's over the touchline, and it's going to be a line ball. Joyce McMullen was the man that tackled him. Paul Curran feeling the effects of that one, and it's going to be a line ball to Donegal. It wasn't a good ball out by Mick Deegan, it has to be said. A line ball to Donegal on the far side. Paul Curran. Manus Boyle looking for it. There's only one Donegal forward in. Martin McHugh's going to make it 2. Declan Bonner swings it. Well, he just swung it wide. The umpire gave a little bit of a alley shuffle there that we thought he was going for the white flag, but it perhaps was asking too much for that one to turn in. 8 points to 6, 27 minutes and 20 seconds gone. This game being brought to you in association today with Finn Valley Oil. Once again, we thank them for their sponsorship. Martin McHugh's not a big man. He couldn't beat Keith Farr, but Anthony Malloy's in behind him. Keith Farr, a dangerous high tackle again. Anthony Malloy wants it. Now the referee. Well, I think Tom Sugrue quite right there, because that was my first reaction to that tackle, and that's not the first one we've seen from Keith Farr. A head-high tackle. They're very dangerous tackles. Michael McGee, I'm glad to see, and I'm not saying that because it's a Dublin man. If it was a Donegal man, I hope I'd say exactly the same thing. Those head-high tackles just have to be cut out of football.
Well, we said it on Carrickmore on Sunday when we saw one of them, that anybody participating in that should get the line. And when you consider that in rugby league, which is the toughest sport of all, I reckon it's instant dismissal.
The long ball out will come straight to Anthony Malloy. Manus Boyle had a shot, it wasn't a good one. This is Malloy, gives it to McHugh. McHugh's so good at that, taking the ball. Now he shoots on the left foot. That's a long high one dropping, but it's just going to drop wide. But McHugh certainly finding the range today, taking a lot of the ball off his midfielders, and when Martin McHugh is doing that, you can be sure that Donegal are moving well, because he's always so aware before he gets the ball of what the good options are. Brian Murray's dominated in midfield so far. He's been the dominant force at the foursome there. John O'Leary has the ball on the edge of the small parallelogram. The ball coming in the direction of Anthony Malloy. There's not a fiend near him at the moment. Malloy goes up there. It's fielded with McHugh again, picking up the wraps. McHugh told to go ahead by Tommy Sugar. It's a good decision. Now he must throw solo because he perhaps carried it too far. McHugh seemed to be fouled. It comes to Declan Bonner. Declan Bonner picks the ball up, turns inside Tommy Carr. He's got a man to his side. It's Brian Murray. Brian Murray flicks the ball over to Martin Gavigan. It wasn't a good pass. Gavigan next something off it, but he loses possession again. Picked up the ground by Jack Keeney perhaps. Knocked back to Mick Deegan. A bit frantic, but Donegal lose a good possession. Mick Deegan gives it to Keith Barr. They haven't got outside their 45-metre line. They've just got out there now. The referee plays a good advantage. This is Mick Deegan. He cuts into the right foot, but again the play slowed down. It comes to Charlie Redmond. We haven't seen too much of him. He plays a long ball forward looking for Vinnie Murphy. Vinnie Murphy feeds it. Matt Fowler's not close enough to him. Murphy steps into the right foot. Now, good, brilliant play by Matt Fowler. Declan Bonner swings the boot at it. Vinnie Murphy has it again, but he's been challenged. He doesn't know where to go. He turns. He shoots. It should be Gary Walsh's ball. It is Gary Walsh's ball. He gives it to Barry McGowan inside his own 14-metre line. Barry McGowan, a good footballer. Malloy looking for it. A good ball forward looking for Malloy. Malloy waits and Tommy Carr gets the tally again. The referee says play on. Tommy Carr's near the sideline. Gives the ball in there to Ford. Ford plays the ball into the corner looking for Desi Fard. Joel Hegarty's right behind him. The right corner forward has it in the left corner forward position. Stepping out to the 21. Trying to get around Noel Hegarty. He's not getting very far. Puts the ball out to Murphy. Murphy swings it across. There's danger here because Gary Walsh is coming to meet this one. The ball's twisted. It's twisted by John Joe Doherty. John Joe Doherty's got Joyce McMullen. He gives it to the Four Masters man. McMullen, we haven't seen too much of him. Now he wants to run. Goes to the ground. Puts the ball into Martin Gavigan. Donald Reed spare in the left half back position. Gavigan decides to go long, looking for Tony Boyd. He's found him, has he? Jerry Hargan's there. Tony Boyd trying to get his hands to it. Hargan's on the ground. He has it. Hargan's fouled, and it's going to be a free out. And it's all very frantic. They haven't heard the whistle, but the whistle's gone. It's going to be a free to Dublin outside their 21-metre line. We're inside the last 5 minutes of the first half, and I don't know what it's like for you people listening and watching, but for me, I think we're not started about 5 minutes. It's been all go. It's been a great All-Ireland football final. Both sides are trying to play good football. It's tough, it's hard, there's a good lot of hard hitting, but most of it's on the ball. Tommy Sugar's doing a good job. Mick Deegan's decided to take this one from the line. Keith Barn, Martin McHugh, Argy Bargy there. Tommy Sugar having a smile with him. Deegan plays it forward. This should be Joyce McMullen's. No, Brian Murray goes forward. He seemed to be fouled. The referee's right there. Good decision by the referee. Brian Murray is dominating things. Charlie Redmond, a little bit of frustration getting into the Dublin men's play. And Charlie Redmond has lost some 14 metres.
It's interesting to see Keith Barr there. He's continuously talking to Tommy Sugar there, but Tommy, good ref that he is taking no heed of what's going on there. It would appear that intimidation seems to be slipping into the game now, and it would be a pity if that were to so, because both teams here are capable of wide open good football there.
Well, they've been playing it so far, and I agree with Michael. Hopefully it won't degenerate into that. Brian Murray knocks the ball forward again. Tony Boyd on the right side again. But this time it's Manus Boyd. Has it? Manus Boyd with a chance on the right foot. Manus Boyd takes a great score into the arms of someone high up and high as 16. Donegal go into a 3-point lead of 9 points to 6. And this has been a great first half performance by Donegal. It took them a little time to settle. Perhaps if Charlie Redmond had a score from that penalty, it could be a different story. But that's history now. The history will show that Charlie Redmond missed it. I suppose you could say if James McHugh's shot had it went into the net, it could be a different story. But at the moment it's 9 points to 6. Malloy goes high, gets a hand to it, but the ball comes down and it's picked up by Niall Guyton. We haven't seen too much of him. He puts the ball. John Joe Doherty trying to get that one, but it's picked up there by Paul Curran. Paul Curran forcing his way forward, fouled by Joyce McMullen. It's going to be a free and a little bit of hitting off the ball there. The referee, well, he says Niall Guyton involved there as well with Martin McHugh. And now the referee's having a word with somebody, and now there's a little bit of Martin Gavigan having a word with Charlie Redmond, and it's interesting to see when there's a little bit of argy-bargy going on between people. One or two of the bigger lads in the Donegal team are perhaps feeling they have to do a bit of sorting out. The referee brought the fee forward about 10 metres. Michael McGee, it's interesting when the likes of Martin McHugh and Declan Bonner and people like that have been knocked off the ball by Dublin men. Gavigan, Malloy and Murray have been all very quick to intervene.
Well, I think maybe that, when you consider the size, Gavigan and Murray and them, they've been down this road before. They know it all. They know what intimidation can do, and they know how to handle that type of situation there. But I'm still amazed at Keith Barry. Seems he seems as much intent on refereeing as playing, and all decisions are a big question there. But as I say, Tommy Sugar doing a very good job there. The reason he moved forward that ball, no one can quibble with it. It was disputed a decision, and that's the way it should be.
Absolutely. Well, it's cost Donegal 10 yards, and it's made Charlie Redmond's task a little bit easier, perhaps. He opened the scoring for Dublin with a free. This one's just outside the 21-metre line. He's knocking the ball towards the canal end where all the Donegal support is. Vinnie Murphy and Matt Fowler are on the edge of a small parallelogram, dancing around. But Charlie Redmond gets that one high over the bar. It's Donegal 9 points. Dublin 7 points. We've got almost 34 minutes gone, so just over a minute of normal time to go before the half-time whistle. Well, there's one or two switches on the Dublin team. Desi Farrell seems to be coming out to centre half forward, and Noel Higgery's come out there with him. He plays that position for his club, so he won't be too uncomfortable there. Martin Gavigan having a little bit of a look round. He's found himself back at the left corner back at the moment, because that's where Charlie Redmond's gone. Anthony Malloy and Dave Foran going for this one. None of them get it, but James McHugh, well, we haven't seen him in the game. He waits for his brother Martin to come forward. Good play there. He gives it into Martin, but Keith Barr's right behind him. Again, Keith Barr's tackling high, but Martin McHugh's on the ball. The right foot of Martin McHugh swings, and that's a great score from Martin McHugh. Brilliant play from a wee man by Kilcar. He tried to get onto the left foot. He found himself tackled by Keith Barr. Hit very hard by Keith Barr. He decided to swing back to the right foot. Well, Keith Barr had a word with Martin McHugh when he missed the free at the start of this match. He doesn't appear to be talking very much to him at the moment. Inside the 21-metre line, 10 points to 7 is the score. McHugh turning brilliantly onto the right foot to swing that one over the bar. The ball's back in play. Murray fisted it down. Manus Boyle was slow to react there. Keith Barr gets there. The ball's out. Martin Gavigan's coming forward, tramping forward to get that one. The Ard Grandman forces his way forward. He's hit by 3 or 4 Dublin men. He gives it to Manus Boyle. Manus Boyle plays a good ball into the corner. That's intelligent football. Into Tony Boyle. Tony Boyle needs support inside, but he's so good at taking men on. Well, he failed, but he still got the ball back to Declan Bunner. Declan Bunner tried the shot, but that one's going nowhere. Manus Boyle's very close to it, however. Mick Deegan feeds it brilliantly in his own 21-metre line, forcing his way out. Mick Deegan, he's fouled by James McHugh, and as we are into injury time, Mick Deegan knocks the ball forward to Paul Curran. Dublin perhaps looking for a score before half-time to give them a boost. It would be a bad time for Donegal to give away a goal, but Anthony Malloy's going to prevent that if he can. He's tackled, he's on the ground, he's fouled, but the referee blows for half-time, and at half-time in the All-Ireland final of 1992, the scoreline reads: Donegal 10 points, Bala Clea 7 points. Michael McGee, a great performance in Donegal's first All-Ireland final.
Well, a great performance on their first. That first 10 minutes, the weather that everybody felt that would be the deciding factor. One would have to say that they weathered it more than well, because we made the point all along, while a lot of scribes mightn't have agreed with us, that this Donegal team wouldn't be overawed by the occasion. They've been down this road before. They've been down at an Ulster Championship and National League. They're playing in the top division of the National League this last 4 years. On the other hand, this Dublin team, I feel, maybe have been media hyped to be a lot better than they really are. Their backs in particular are more than vulnerable, and it's obvious that the Donegal forwards, when they run at those backs, this was shown by Clare in the semi-final, because on the few occasions that Clare ran at them, they got 3 goals. Never mind the one that I'm counting, the one that was disallowed. Clare managed 3 goals, and the same applies here for Donegal, that the forwards, when they run at this backline, they have the beating of them. The only problem that Donegal have, they have to watch that Dublin full forward line, particularly Vinnie Murphy there. But going in at Croke Park, 10 points to 7 in the lead is something which even though a lot of very keen Donegal supporters wouldn't have imagined could happen in their wildest dream. Make no mistake about it, Donegal didn't come here to make up the numbers. They're here to win, and if they continue as they're going here, there's no reason why they shouldn't, Charlie.
OK, Michael, well, we're going to take a break. Just to remind you, this game being brought to you in association with Sun Valley Oil, of course. Thank them for their sponsorship and cooperation, and also to Telecom Éireann for providing us with lines today to bring back our broadcast to you in the Northwest. I hope you're enjoying our coverage. We'll be back to you in about 8 minutes' time for the whole of the second half. Rejoin us then.
Well, Theo, Charlie is just about to make it back from all those little houses that we all have to go to. So if you hold on to like the Charlie Collins.
Right? We're back.
Okay.
Oh, we're back, Theo. I tell you, Theo.
This
It's a big city, this Dublin, but I'll tell you, it's the hardest been to get to the toilet on an All-Ireland final day. I was queuing for about 10 minutes there.
Charlie, things are going great.
Absolutely, P.O.
They're really domineering at midfield too.
Well, one of the problems, I'll tell you, P.O. now, just as I get my breath back, is I couldn't get back here to the commentary position because I kept meeting Donegal people.
Yes.
And so many of them were saying we have it won. Now, that's the problem.
Yes.
That Donegal have played so well in the first half after that initial little bit of settling in period that, you know, everyone's on a high. Everyone's on a high.
Well, let's hope we do it.
No, this Dublin team, you know, have come back. They've been involved in big, hard matches against Meath in times gone by. They came back on Bethany Park, so Donegal will have to be very careful. There's a substitute on the Dublin team. I can tell you that Paul Beaton has replaced Dave Foran. Now that could be a very good thing for Dublin, or it could be a very bad thing. The young man's going to take a little while to settle down. Malloy and Murray have, they've dominated midfield and they've been very tough in everything they've done. But I can tell you, Peel, there's a fantastic atmosphere around Croke Park.
It must be unbelievable.
Unbelievable atmosphere down around that the public area and below the stand here. Just fantastic atmosphere. Donegal people are on a high. Well, let's hope, I suppose, we're going to be by it staying this. Let's hope in 35 minutes time.
Right. See you later, Charlie. Bye. Good luck.
Bye. Gets it again, but he's not able to hold on to it. Well, Murray had a swing at it. A very dangerous swing, it has to be said. And Jack Sheedy, well, it was a good job it didn't connect because they would have been in a lot of trouble there. Half-time score, 10 points to 7. A free to Dublin. It's going to be Keith Barr to take it. Michael McGee, that atmosphere, everyone very happy, but it has to be with caution.
Well, it has to be, Charlie. 3 points, is no great score, but by the same token, to be 3 points up at half-time is psychologically a big advantage there. But as you say, 35 minutes to go. It's never over, as they say to the fat ladies. And
Keith Barr comes forward to take it. A long one dropping dangerously in towards the other small parallelogram. Hands got there. Whose hands got there? Well, the umpire, I don't know what sort of a signal he's given there. It seems somebody in the small parallelogram, perhaps. The umpire certainly didn't signal a wide or a 40 metre. He just was signaling, and Michael suggests perhaps that the man was inside the small parallelogram. Anyway, it's a moment of relief for Donegal as we approach the second, just in over the first minute of the second half. Gary Walsh, a long one. Donald Reid going for it, but Malloy gets there, got hands to it, not able to hold on to it. Niall Guyton has it, knocks it forward. Matt Gallagher trying to get there in front of Vinnie Murphy, but Murphy has it. Murphy, the ball on the ground. Matt Gallagher tackles him very well. Murphy has it now outside the 14 metre line. On to the left foot, Murphy shoots low across. Well, puts it down, but it comes to Beaton. Galvin, in fact, it was, and Galvin fires it over the bar. So the opening score of the second half goes to Dublin, and that had to be important because Donegal with a 3-point lead. If they were to add to that, Dublin's task would have been a very uphill one. But it's back to 2 points again, and this is an All-Ireland final that I feel could go right to the wire. A goal for either side, of course, would be a major boost. Certainly a goal for Donegal at this stage would put them into a very strong position. So the goal for the Dubs, of course, at this stage would put them right back in the lead, and would lend itself to a tremendous game, I feel. Paul Beelan's in, no changes in the Donegal team. They line out as they did. John Joe Doherty's done well, a late replacement for Martin Shovlin, who unfortunately had to miss this big day because of an injury. Joyce McMullen's round. Paul Curran, but he was fouled and held and going ahead again, but the referee, Tommy Surgrove, he gave Curran the advantage the first time. John Joe Doherty has a little bit of a hargy-bargy there, and now the referee takes the ball forward, and Manus Boyle's going to have another opportunity to put Donegal 3 points ahead. Boyle has certainly justified his selection. A couple of very good scores from play, an excellent one from a free. This is a similar position, perhaps slightly easier, indeed a position that he scored in the All-Ireland semi-final. He chips it, it looks good, and well, the crowd behind the canal then tell you what it's all about. A passive look on the face of Manus Boyle with that one going over the bar, but the Killybegs man, I think it's his 4th point of the game. Michael will check that out for me, but certainly he's knocked over 2 from play. That's 2 frees that I can remember about, and that's in a total of 11. A long ball forward. Malloy and Beelan were doing a lot of holding, but Beelan has it. Big tall lad is Paul Beelan. He's been fouled by James McHugh, and the small tackling the big there, it can be sure. But before that ball came near them at all, there certainly was a lot of tugging and holding going on. Well, Michael tells me 3 for Manus Boyle. I think it's 4, but perhaps he can just do a recheck. That's definitely knocked over 2 frees. I think he got 2 from play as well. Keith Barr. Long ball again and looking for Murphy. Malloy's there, but it's Murphy has it. Murphy's inside the small parallelogram. He's tried to shoot. Gary Walsh coming onto his right foot, which isn't as stronger, trying to get back on the left one. He's been forced, but he's been fouled by the Dublin forwards. And again, Vinnie Murphy, so dangerous in those situations. Those of you who were in Breffni Park that day in the National League quarter-final, he came on as a substitute that day. He fielded the ball, fed it to Paul Clark. Clark rattled it into the net. A couple of seconds later, Murphy got possession himself, was thrown round and goals, and there he goes, grabbing the ball so high. Matt Gallagher's there. John Joe Doherty got a vital hand to that one. Barry McGowan was there as well, but so dangerous. Joyce McMullen goes high, the breaking ball. Who'll get it this time? John Joe Doherty tried to get it. Joyce McMullen has it. Joyce McMullen on his own 45 metre line, trying to get round Jack Sheedy. He does so successfully. Mullen knocks it forward to Declan Bonner. Declan Bonner takes it on the chest. Declan Bonner's got support outside him from James McHugh. Turns inside himself, gives it to Donald Reid. Good play by Donald Reid. Gives it to James McHugh. James McHugh cutting inside. The wee man needs only a little bit of space. Turning inside again. He's got Martin McHugh inside of James McHugh. 130 metres. He's still going. He's still going. This will be a fantastic score. It's just wide. Well, what a score that would have been from James McHugh. But that's the danger of the little man. Dublin very keen to get on with it. The ball's out right away to Paul Curran. Brian Murray tries to close him down. The ball's knocked forward. Noel Hegarty coming on to it. Hegarty and Desi Farr. Desi Farr's done well today. Farrell has it. Very close to the far sideline. Anthony Malloy tackles him, but Farr's made a lot of space. There's a man free inside as well. Paul Beaton's free inside of Desi Farr. Sees him. Desi Farr goes himself. Knocks it in. Gary Walsh takes it. Gary Walsh knocks the ball out. Looking for Barry McGowan, but it will go out for a 40-metre free. But, it seemed to come off it. No, the umpires now decided it's a wide ball. It came off a Dublin man. Gary Walsh certainly argued with him. Mick Galvin's in there now having a word with him. But certainly the decision to award the wide ball is the correct one. Initially, he held his hand up for a 45-metre free, but certainly Walsh's attempted clearance came off the Dublin man and went wide. So the umpire perhaps getting caught up in the excitement of the whole thing. Well, everybody is here today. 5.5 minutes gone. 11 points to 8 Donegal lead. We're 5.5 into the second half. Roderick O'Shea with a walkie-talkie, getting messages down. Fisted on. This is McHugh. McHugh gives it to Malloy. Malloy notices his face going forward. He's got support outside him from James McHugh. He gives it out to James McHugh. Dublin men telling their defenders to get forward. Not a good pass from James McHugh. Declan Bonner has it. He wants to come back on the left foot. He's on the left foot, Declan Bonner. He fished the ball back. It wasn't a good pass. Malloy has a lot to do, but he gets there. Malloy's got support inside him. He's got support outside him as well, but he needs help. The ball's knocked out of his hands, but he had no options. Anthony Malloy. Niall Guyton has it. Niall Guyton plays a long ball forward looking for Murphy again. Matt Gallagher's with him. The ball's over their two heads and there's a danger for Donegal. John Joe's already trying to get goal side. Murphy's homing in and goal. Murphy trying to get around Matt Gallagher, who's done well to get back. Murphy's still there, shoots, and that one goes wide again. So Dublin guilty of a few wides, Donegal guilty of a few wides, but this is certainly the danger man.
He is certainly the danger man, but all credit there to Matt for his quick recovery there. But definitely Vinnie Murphy is the man in form there, and should Dublin get the ball up to him, he's going to create problems there. I think they'll have to keep a very, very close eye on him.
Anxious looks from the Donegal bench. John Cunningham and Paul Carr having a little word. Brian McAnuff's out along the sideline, certainly anxious. Perhaps he's telling Anthony Malloy that to hit the ball into the middle if he has no other options. Donegal perhaps at times tried to play the short ball and tried to overplay it. Gary Walsh, a good kick out. Hands go up. Murray got to it, but it's picked up there by Beaton. Beaton's had a good start to the second half. A long shot by Beaton, but that one is going to go wide again. And that's 3 or 4 wides that Dublin have kicked in the second half. You can't afford to do that. But certainly Paul Beaton has made a bit of a difference in round midfield. Clean possession was hard to get in the first half. The only man who was really winning it was Brian Murray. And we haven't seen too much of Murray in the second half so far. Beaton's come in to mark Malloy. Murray's still marking Paul Clark. Gary Walsh has placed the ball on the edge of the small parallelogram. 7.25 minutes gone in the second half. The Dubs are starting to get behind their team. So will the Donegal supporters. Malloy and Beaton again, a bit of pushing going on. The breaking ball comes down to Joyce McMullen. Donegal need a couple of his long runs. He gives that one forward, a lovely pass to Brian Murray. Brian Murray meeting up the ground. Paul Clark trying to get there. He gives it out to Manus Boyd. Manus Boyd's cutting out on the left foot. He's been held by Paul Clark. He's been fouled by Paul Clark. And there's a problem here. Brian Murray's gone. Brian Murray's hamstring has gone. Donegal are going to have to introduce a substitute. Brian Murray running at pace to take that one, and he will play no further part in the game. Tommy Sugru hasn't seen him down injured as yet. Now his attention's been brought to him. Play will resume with a free to Donegal. It will be in a pretty central position. Barry Cunningham's warming up on the far side, and Michael McGee. Barry Cunningham had a great game when he came in the second half against Mayo, but I feel this will be a blow to Donegal because Murray's having one of those very good games that we often see him play for Donegal.
Yeah, Murray is playing quite well, and I feel it would be a blow to Donegal if they went, but by the same token, Barry Cunningham, when he came in the semi-final, proved that he's a worthy substitute there. I'm sure I would feel that even at this stage, I don't think that Brian Murray would be going off.
Well, a little bit of gamesmanship there on behalf of Paul Curran, the right half back. He brought the ball back about 6 or 7 metres when Murray was getting treatment. Murray's back on his feet again. Is it his hamstring or his ankle, I wonder? Brian McAnuff having a word with him there. Well, certainly he's hobbling around, and Donegal, a 3-point lead, can't afford to carry a man in the midfield position. He's gone down again. There's no way that Brian Murray's going to be able to go on in this game. Donegal are going to have to bring in a sub. Manus Boyd, Tommy Sugru, I think, telling him he's going to have to go off, and I think that's the proper thing to do. Brian Murray hobbling very badly on it looks like his left ankle rather than the hamstring, which is in trouble. He may have went over in it. Barry Cunningham of Killy Beggs is coming into the game. The man who came back from America for the start of the campaign. He hasn't been able to hold down a regular spot. He played well against Cavan at centre half forward, but he's in the game. He played well against Mayo when he came on, and it's Manus Boyd. Donegal haven't led by 4 points in this game so far today. They do now, however, because Manus Boyd has knocked another one over the bar, and I for one would have been disappointed when Tommy Ryan was left out of this game. But I take my hat off to Brian McAniff. The decision to include Manus Boyle has proven to be a most wise one. Donegal have been awarded a number of frees between the 21 and the 45 metre line, and Manus Boyle hasn't erred from one of them so far. He's also scored a couple of points from play. John O'Leary takes it. We've gone 9 3/4, almost 10 minutes of the game. Malloy gets up, beat and fisted forward. Martin Gavighan solid in defence, bursting through the gaps that don't appear to be there. Going forward, he fits the ball there to Martin McHugh. Martin McHugh to Barry Cunningham running off him. He sees him. Barry Cunningham going forward. Donegal have got a man spare here if they use it right. Barry Cunningham going forward. He's on the 21 metre line. He's fouled, and it's going to be a free in to Donegal. And that's good play again, and an opportunity to go 5 points into the lead. Manus Boyle will take it. But I shouldn't have bothered saying if Martin McHugh sees him, because he's the type of player who sees those situations long before any other player on the park. A great run forward by Barry Cunningham. Perhaps he should have released it a little bit quicker. The defenders were going off him. He did right now to carry forward, because this is a relatively simple task for Manus Boyle to tap this over the crossbar. He does. And Manus Boyle, another point for him, another point for Donegal. And with 10.5 minutes gone, it's Donegal leading by 13 points to 8. They have a 5-point lead. That's the biggest lead any of the sides have had so far. But cast your mind back to Breffni Park a couple of months ago. They led by 5 points. They were beaten in the end. The kick out isn't a good one, but Eamon Heary will get there. Eamon Heary. Dublin again, the tactic of just knocking the ball forward. Murphy feeds it, but he's not able to take it. Martin Gavighan comes in strongly and knocks that ball out for a sideline ball to Dublin. Donegal getting men round it. John Joe Doherty, he's like a ferret in around there. He's jumping, he's looking around him. His head's going from one side to the other. Where's my man? Where's your man? What are you doing? The ball's in dangerously. It's very dangerous. Matt Gallagher did very well. Knocked it out. Barry Cunningham at the other end of the park now. Now he's fouled inside the other 14 metre line. Well, it hasn't taken Barry Cunningham too long to get into this game. Twice in inside a minute and a half. We've seen him at either end of the park. A big strong lad is Barry Cunningham. It'll be interesting to see how he performs for the rest of this game. 11.5 minutes gone. Subtract that from 35 and you'll know exactly how long's left. Highland Radio's coverage today has been brought to you in association with Finn Valley Oil. Our telephone service line's been brought to you by Telecom Éireann. We thank them both for their help and cooperation. Eamon Heary has the ball. Looking for the short one. Gives it forward to Keith Barr. The attacking half-back, Martin McHugh, a brilliant block. But the ball will come to Paul Curran. The three half-backs in unison. Paul Curran going forward. There's danger here for Donegal. Paul Curran, brilliantly intercepted by Noel Hegarty. Brilliant play by the lead Columba man. And now he's gone 30, 40, 50 yards. How often have we seen him doing this for his club? It's not a good pass, but Barry Cunningham gives it forward to James McHugh. He wanted to pass it, but he's got to hold on to it. Now he gives it back to Barry Cunningham. Declan Bonner making a good run off the ball. He seemed to be fouled by Tommy Carr, but the ball breaks. Tommy Carr going forward. Manus Boyle trying to stop him. He's fouled. The referee says play on. Does he? He doesn't. Get the ball back again. Well, it's all Harum, Scarum, Helter Skelter and All-Ireland final. Dublin have it all to do. They're playing on their home patch here at Croke Park. They were everyone's favourites, but they find themselves 5 points down. How significant will that penalty miss by Charlie Redmond be? When I was away at half-time, I heard two Dubliners having a conversation. Redmond did the same thing in the Leinster Championship in 1988. This is Niall Guyton with a chance to knock over a score, and that's exactly what he does. Donegal getting plenty of men around. Vinnie Murphy, of course, because of the danger of him, but that allows other Dublin forwards to pick up the pieces. Niall Guyton did that, and that's his first point of the game. 13 minutes gone. 22 minutes of the All-Ireland final of 1992 to go. Dublin have won 21 All-Ireland titles in the past. They've been involved in numerous other finals. Donegal have never played in an All-Ireland senior final, so obviously it makes sense that they've never won one. Will today see history made? History here, this is their first time, but will they go with a win? The ball's knocked down. Gavighan waited on it and just got enough on it to give it to John Joe Doherty. Thought about the pass, but now it goes wrong. Good play by John Joe Doherty, because the pass would have been dangerous. Now he's going forward, there's a man forward him, and believe it or not, it's Barry Cunningham again, but Declan Bonner takes that one. Declan Bonner's got Barry Cunningham, they collide it, but now the Narossa man bursting in along the end line. Brilliant play by Declan Bonner. He's got Manus Boyle out. An opportunity for Manus Boyle for another score. Will he get it? No, he won't. That one goes wide, and again Donegal, if they could have replied with a point when Niall Guyton scored at the other end, it would have been a major boost, but still they lead by 4. Almost 14 minutes gone. The minutes are taken away, but there's still plenty of time. Anything can happen. Donegal have performed brilliantly in their first senior final, but Dublin have been through them all before in All-Ireland finals, but they haven't won one since 1983, so they have no age and experience in that regard. Anthony Malloy and Paul Beelan going for it. After a good start, we haven't seen too much for Beelan. That time he fouls Malloy, and the more experienced Malloy perhaps is beginning to get the upper hand. Back in Breffni at the start of the campaign, Stephen King had a great first half. Then the big man from Ardra got his act together, and Stephen King didn't count in the rest of the campaign. Another Ardra man, Martin Gavigan. What a great day for that town. The two men at the centre of Donegal's midfield and defence. Gavigan, the left knee, heavily bandaged, looking for Tony Boyd. Tony Boyd hasn't seen too much in the second half, but he has it now. He's foiled by Jerry Hargan. Well, Jerry Hargan has never played against a better full forward than a Tony Boyd, and he's finding the going very tough. The experienced Hargan, who retired from the game, but he's come back. Perhaps in there today, he might be wishing that he'd stayed out, because Tony Boyd is certainly on his game. This free's about 10 metres in. It's about 27 metres out. Tommy Sugar telling Declan Bonner to get on with it. Well, the heads are very still behind the canal lane, but I can assure you if this one goes over the bar, watch for the sea of green and white flags. Declan Bonner coming forward. It looks good. Watch for those flags now. There they are. 14 points to 9. Every Donegal forward is answering the call today. A brilliant free in that. Flags, you can see the happy faces here beside us in the Hogan stand. I can see Paul Carr Sr. just away to my right hand side. His son Paul's on the bench over there. He possibly will play no part, but Paul Sr.'s in a highly excited state. The breaking ball again. It's Noel Hegarty. He's got space in front of him. I can assure you he'll run into it. Jesse Farr's trying to eat up the ground. The ball's knocked out. It wasn't a great pass. Manus Boyd perhaps will make something off it, will he? He's still got an opportunity. He's on the ground, a sliding tackle, and the ball will go for a 45-minute free. Mick Deegan is a very good soccer player. On that occasion, he used his expertise there with a sliding tackle. Both players went to the ground, but the referee, Tommy Surgoose, had an excellent game. He was right with him, and he decided that one would be a 45-minute metre free. Well, Manus Boyd's carrying the ball all the way out. In no hurry to get on with it. He knows that these referees tend not to play too much extra time and injury time, so every second counts. I can see Martin Gavigan taking a drink. Anthony Malloy had one from the same bottle. Noel McCole, or is it Dr. Austin Kennedy out there? Brian McInniff is standing parallel almost with Martin McHugh. Martin McHugh on the left foot from the 45 metre. It's not going to go over the bar directly. Tommy Carr intercepts it. He hasn't seen too much action. He gives it back to John O'Leary. He's pushed it out to the far side there to Paul Curran, making his way towards his own 45 metre line. A long ball forward. Paul Clark takes a heavy challenge from Donald Reid. The referee says play on. This is Niall Guyden. Barry Cunningham trying to close him down. Niall Guyden making good ground. Donald Reid trying to get across to him. Guyden cutting back. Now he goes on to the right foot again. Donald Reid having trouble staying with him. He gives the ball out to the far side to Jack Sheedy. Jack Sheedy shoots. And Jack Sheedy, not the greatest finisher in the world. And again it's so proved. He slams it wide. And Michael McGee, perhaps the lack of strength on the Dublin bench, what we talked about earlier on, we're seeing the fruits of that now, because Dublin, I feel, should be making a change in their forward line at this stage.
Well, I would think they need to change more aptly in their back line, Charlie, because that half forward line and Donegal forwards going through are creating problems there. So I feel that there was a bit of desperation about that kick of Jack Sheedy's there. But that said and all, this is a tough Dublin team. They're not going to give up easily.
Paul Beaton fields it brilliantly, plays it down into the corner. John Joe Doherty now is at left corner back. Noel Hegarty seems to be in the half-back line, but John Joe Doherty can play anywhere in defence. He's proved that over the years with Nice Columba. What a chance he got today to play in an All-Ireland final after missing the semi-final a couple of years ago. That's a ball fisted forward by Hegarty close to the sideline. Tony Boyd fisted it inside, but it comes to a Dubliner. Donegal over-elaborating, perhaps too close to the sideline. Now Dublin playing the short game effectively. This is Paul Curran. Paul Curran gives the ball forward to Mick Deegan away forward. Deegan perhaps will shoot himself. Cutting inside. His shot's half blocked. The ball will come into the hands of Martin Gavigan. Martin Gavigan battling his way out. He's fouled. He's got a man out to the left-hand side if he sees him. Matt Gallagher tells him to give it to him, but Martin Gavigan wisely using the old head. Let's slow it down. Let's take our time. The short ball's not just working at the moment. Let's thinking about it. Brian McInniff shouting. Well, he's signalling. Spread it out. Good advice from the team manager. Keith Barr, Martin McHugh, words exchanged at the start. There hasn't been time for words since that. 14 points to 9, Donegal lead. We're into the last quarter of this game. We said at the end of the first quarter, Donegal had a 2-point lead. Would they be good enough to win it? Paul Beaton dominating midfield at the moment. A brilliant bit of fielding again. Plays the ball forward again. Murphy's in behind Matt Gallagher. Matt Gallagher needs to be careful. Murphy's there. Matt Gallagher still with him. Brilliant block by Matt Gallagher, but Murphy's still there, but he's close to the end line. John O'Doherty tries to tackle him. Murphy cutting inside. Gives it into Charlie Redmond. A great tackle by Barry McGowan. A great save by Barry McGowan. Tackled. A great save by Gary Walsh, and Donegal defend brilliantly. Michael, those sorts of moments are what won the All-Ireland finals.
Well, those were the moments that games are won and lost, and in the defence there was no way with that full back line that there was going to be a clear shot got at goals, and all credit to the full back line. We criticised them slightly in the first half, but all credit to them.
Barry McGowan was a man who swept it up, so he wasn't got in. He didn't get in the block initially. Very hard to tell in the melee down there. It may have been John Joe Doherty. There's another Donegal substitute warming up on the far side. We just haven't seen who it is at the moment. We keep a close eye on that situation. The Donegal supporters are right behind their team. The hill is quiet at the moment. 14 points to 9 it stands. Barry McGowan got hands to it. It comes down to Noel Hegarty. Barry McGowan's penalised for fouling Paul Clark. Dublin want to get on with it. Dublin midfielders coming more into the game. Certainly young Paul Beaton has made a difference. Charlie Redmond's coming out to take this free. Charlie Redmond hasn't been a factor in this game at all today. Perhaps the penalty missed his playing on his mind. It came at an early stage. It came at an important stage. But it seems to have certainly put him off his game. But this one's 50 metres out. It's slightly to the right of centre. Charlie Redmond has number 10, but he's played most of the game at centre half forward. He's in at corner forward at the moment as Dublin make the changes around the park, but they haven't got on a substitution in the second half. Redmond takes it. It looks good, but it's going to drop short. Barry Cunningham has it. Barry Cunningham hails. Great feeling by that Killybegs man, and he certainly made his presence felt. I spoke to Barry Cunningham after the semi-final performance against Mayo. He's a lovely big fellow, Barry Cunningham. He said to me he was just delighted to get into the game. He felt that he probably wouldn't start the All-Ireland final, but he said if I get the same chance again, hopefully I'll be able to show that I'm good enough. Barry Cunningham, so far today, you've shown that you're good enough. Gary Walsh places the ball outside the 14-metre line. Donald Reid should get this one. This could be his last game. I'm sure he's enjoying it. A good ball forward. Tommy Carr tries to get there. The ball's knocked into Keith Barr. Keith Barr hasn't been in this game. He's fouled by Tony Boyle. The referee says play on. Then he says no, it's a free. Keith Barr wants to take it quickly, but all Dublin are doing is knocking the long ball forward. Matt Gallagher's the grips with Vinnie Murphy. The ball's twisted to the side. Jack Sheedy gives it to Charlie Redmond. Charlie Redmond home and in. Charlie Redmond shoots the shot blocked. He's pushing to lift the ball on the ground. The ball comes out again to Murphy. Murphy decides to take the point, but he decides to put it wide instead. So great defending by Donegal. Charlie Redmond very unhappy there with the referee. Eamon Heary telling him to settle himself down, but frustration upon frustration. The half-time score, I can't even remember what it was at this stage. 10 points to 7 at half-time. The Dubs have only scored 2 in the second half. Donegal have scored 4. There's Gary Walsh now. Has Brian McAnuff with all the old gamesmanship coming out, and Brian McAnuff, and who can blame him? 30 years he's waited to bring a side to an All-Ireland final. 30 years he's waited to win an All-Ireland. And there's objects on the pitch. I think Gary Walsh may have been struck by an object. I think that could be the problem in there. And Brian McAnuff and Dr. Austin Kennedy are certainly taking objects away from around the goals. Another Stewart there, also there. Gary Walsh seemed to be hit by an object. And, well, at Dublin, there's a confrontation going on there on the far side between one of the Dublin mentors and Brian McAnuff. Is it Jim Brogan, or father, or Dr. Pat O'Neill? I wonder. Strong words being exchanged between the two of them. Dr. Pat O'Neill and Brian McAnuff. Certainly strong words being expressed between the two of them. And one's not pleased with the other. I don't have to tell you who's not pleased with who at the moment. Malloy got hands to it, but he wasn't able to hold it. This is Paul Curran on the ground. The shot's blocked. Anthony Malloy's trying to get there. McHugh's there as well, but Curran touched the ball on the ground. It's going to be a free to Donegal from just inside their own half. And Donegal are playing brilliantly. This is one of the best performances we've ever seen from them. Tommy Sugru and Paul Curran exchanging words again. Joyce McMullen needs to get forward. Donegal are leaving a lot of space for their full forward line. Martin Gavigan chips it into the space looking for Tony Boyle. Tony Boyle gets there again. He has it. This is a man who can really move when he's in possession. Tony Boyle. There's no answer to him in the Dublin defence. This is Manus Boyle. Not much answer to him today either. Trying to get round McDeegan. On his right foot, Manus Boyle. That's a brilliant score, is it, from Manus Boyle? What a score from Manus Boyle. What a brilliant score from the Killybegs man. Well, he's answered all the questions today. I know I've been a critic of him in the past. Perhaps one performance isn't enough to lift all the poor performances we've seen him, but when it comes in an All-Ireland final, it certainly gives you, well, extra marks. Anthony Malloy hesitated, but he still got it. He's got Tony Boyle in space in front of him if he sees him. He flicks the ball forward to Joyce McMullen. The poor Masters man steps inside Beaton. He gives the ball back to Martin McHugh. Martin McHugh held by Guyton, but he's still going forward. He's been tackled. He gives the ball back there, but he threw the ball. Donald Reid has it, but it's going to be a free to Dublin. Niall Guyton steps in there. The referee tells him to take the ball back. And Keith Barr's going to take this from the hands. Again, it's going to be the long ball forward. It's not a good one. It's very close to the side touchline. And Dublin's frustration really beginning to show as we come into 24 minutes gone. 11 minutes to go. and the unpleasantries that were exchanged between Dr. Pat O'Neill and Brian McAniff. I'm glad to say, well, they've gone back to the dugouts now. Dr. Pat O'Neill's not very happy with Brian McAniff being involved there. It certainly seemed as if objects were being picked from around Jerry Walsh's goal. But back with the play. Does that matter really? Barry McGowan tried to be a little too smart with that one, and certainly Donegal would do better just to knock this ball from the sideline balls in that area. Long ball, and Jack Sheedy will certainly do that. A long ball, looking for Murphy again. It's very close to the end line, but Murphy holds it. Forced out by Matt Gallagher. He plays a high, hopeful ball. That's the only way I can describe that. Jerry Walsh got there and happy to knock it out with a 6-point lead. Donegal won't be too troubled about giving away a point here and a point there, as long as they can reply quickly. The thing that they don't have to do, Michael McGee, is concede the late goals.
That's the one thing they have to watch, is not to concede a goal. But they're experienced enough not to do that. It was interesting to see that it was Gary Welch there who knocked that one back out for the 50.
Well, it's going to be Paul Clark as the Dubliners change their free taker again. We cast our mind back to a couple of months ago when Paul Clark had a free against Tyrone late in the match, which he kicked wide. I'm sure Pete remembers that one. This time he kicked that one well over the bar. A very good point from the 45-metre free by Paul Clark. A ripple of applause behind us, a few flags waving on the hill, but certainly a lot of anxious faces on the hills as well, because they know that Donegal have it all to do. Dublin are moving their team captain Tommy Carr out into a more advanced position. Eamon Heary has gone back to corner back to Mark Declan Brunner, and Tommy Carr's coming out the right half back. Paul Curran is playing. No, I can't beat Paul Curran at the moment, but anyway, we'll stay with the play. Barry Cunningham switches down. Martin Gavigan comes to Jack Sheedy. Jack Sheedy looking for support. He's got support from Tommy Carr. There's danger here. Tommy Carr going forward. There's an opportunity. It wasn't a great pass. It gave Murphy a lot to do. He's in a wide position. He's cutting inside. He's round 2 Donegal men. He shoots and he puts it over the bar. So Dublin have come back with a couple of quick points. And certainly Donegal will need to be careful, because Dublin can still come back. There's less than 9 minutes to go in this game. Gary Walsh isn't too keen to get on with it, but Donegal shouldn't stay and wait on this final whistle to come. They should get back into the game. Brian McAniff's on the park, perhaps giving the sort of advice. Donegal can expect a big fine for this one, but I'm sure if they won the All-Ireland, they won't mind that. I think he's saying to his players, listen, we've stopped playing. We've got to start playing again. We've got to get the scores on the board. And for me, that would be the sort of advice that the Donegal team needs. They need to knock over a point and reply each game Dublin score to make it almost impossible for the Dubs to come back. The breaking ball comes to Noel Hegarty. He's right forward. He gives it to Malloy. Malloy's going forward now. Will we see? Well, he seemed to be fouled from behind, but the referee says play on. Keith Barr forcing his way out. He's fouled high by Martin McHugh, and it's going to be a free out. Again, Anthony Malloy, really indecisive there. The quick free's taken. Dublin are really got their tails up at the moment. Martin Gavigan, good tackling there by Martin Gavigan. The ball's played across to Niall Jedden. Niall Jedden gets it outside the 45-metre line of Donegal. He steps round Donald Reid. He tries to come back onto the right foot. He pushed it in. It comes there to Eamon Heary. Eamon Heary will shoot on the left foot. Eamon Heary shoots. And that's another good score. So Dublin now have scored 3 in a row, and they're certainly coming back. And Donegal will have to be very careful. Over 27 minutes to go. Just under 8 minutes to go. There's still plenty of time for the Dubs to come back. Brian McAniff again and having a word with Anthony Malloy. He's certainly very anxious. What's he saying to his players? To spread it out. And certainly Donegal can expect, as I said, a massive fine for this. McAniff, I'm sure, would love to be playing himself, but he's trying to get the message through to his players. But with less than 10 minutes to go, they've really got to get their act together and start playing. We haven't seen that from them. James McHugh goes for it. It comes to Noel Hegarty. Noel Hegarty's fouled. Donegal now trying to get on with it. Tony Boyle was being held, but he's got possession. Now Tony Boyle can get on the move. Tony Boyle's inside. He's fouled. The referee says it's a free and a respite for Donegal, and an opportunity for Manus Boyle to knock it over the bar. And if Donegal continue to get this ball forward to Tony Boyle, that's the sort of trouble he's going to cause. There's 28 minutes gone. Just less than 7 minutes to go now. This will increase the lead to 4 points again. Dublin have scored the last 3. Manus Boyle, who put Donegal 6 points ahead at one stage, well, he's got them back now to 4 points ahead. That's Donegal's reply. But certainly the advice from Brian McAniff, I hope it was good advice, and I hope it's heeded. I'm sure it was good advice. I hope it's heeded by the Donegal team. They have to stop waiting for the final whistle. They have to keep playing right to the final whistle. A long ball out. James McHugh going for it. Paul Curran gets there, however, turns away from the tackle. Good play here by Paul Curran, forcing his way forward. James McHugh right with him. But the right half back still going forward. An excellent footballer, Paul Curran. He's made a lot of ground. He's going to shoot. It's half blocked. The ball will be picked up, would you believe, by Martin McHugh. Martin McHugh plays the ball out looking for Barry Cunningham. Barry Cunningham's tackled by Beelan. Martin Gavigan gets a long ball forward. Good play there by Martin Gavigan. Mick Deegan going to retrieve the situation. He's tackled by Manus Boyd. Fouled by Manus Boyd. Just on the halfway line is Mick Deegan. Plays the ball short forward looking for Beelan. James McHugh has no hope of beating him in the air. Well, believe it or not, he got his fist to it. Beelan will be keen to get this one right into the edge of the small parallelogram. This is very dangerous ball by Paul Beelan. Barry McGoyle got hands to it, and it's Martin McHugh. Martin McHugh seems to be playing like a full back at the moment. Michael McGee is probably not good tactics, but he's made a couple of vital interceptions in there.
Well, these Donegal lads are playing, Charlie, as if their life depended on it there. And Martin McHugh was back there to intercept that ball, as you say. Given that and all, Dublin are still dangerous. They're still capable of coming back.
This free is going to be taken by Gary Walsh. We're coming up to just over 5 minutes to go. Mick Galvin and Barry McGowan both have really kept the other quiet today. Gary Walsh's free goes right across. Noel Hegarty trying to get there, but the ball comes to Paul Clark. Paul Clark's about to be tackled by Noel Hegarty. Paul Clark turns onto the right foot again. That's a shot, a dangerous one. Vinnie Murphy going up in the air. Vinnie Murphy has it. Now it's Mick Galvin. Mick Galvin's held, and it's going to be a free. Mick Galvin wanted to take it quickly. Donegal players weren't allowing him to do that. But this is going to be straight in front of goals, and really an academic situation for Charlie Redmond to tap this one over the bar. Joyce McMullen not too keen to get away from the ball, neither is John Joe Doherty. This will reduce the deficit to 3 points. Always a dangerous lead to have. Donegal led by 6 at one time. Now they lead by 3. There's 4.5 minutes to go in the All-Ireland final of 1992. There's a man warming up away on the far side for the Donegal team, and I'm not just sure who it is at the moment, but there's a couple lines warming up, and one of them is Tommy Ryan. The other could be Sylvester Maguire, but I'm not 100% sure about that at the moment. We'll stay with the play. It could indeed be Sylvester Maguire and Tommy Ryan. Brian McAnuff will make the 2 substitutes to waste a bit of time, I can assure you of that. Barry Cunningham got his hands to it. Donegal driving forward again. A long ball in, a very good ball in behind the defence. Manus Boyd had a goal chance for Manus Boyd. He decides to take the point. Intelligent play perhaps. A goal would have finished it off. But Manus Boyd perhaps beaten. This will make it 4 points. Well, that proved to be a good decision. I'd love to have Manus Boyd's tally. We'll get it at the end of the match. He's had a tremendous game. The quick free out to Paul Beelan. James McHugh's trying to close it down. A goal there would surely have finished it, but Boyle decided, well, better to take the point. John Joe Doherty going with it for Charlie Redmond. John Joe Doherty got hands to it. It's going to be a line ball to Dublin. John Joe Doherty not too happy about it, but he shouldn't be arguing. He should be getting on with the play. There's a spare man in here. It's Paul Clark. He's beaten by Joyce McMullen. Well, he just hooks that ball out. We could have taken a little bit of time about it. Donegal have almost everybody behind the ball now. But it's Tommy Carr. Away out on the far side, there was an incident off the ball, but if we stay with the play, Tommy Carr forced out again. Noel Hegarty. Now there's a man inside. This is a chance for Dublin. The ball's fisted over. Martin McHugh was pushed away, but the ball's picked up by Donald Reid. Donald Reid trying to get out. It's in the hands of Vinnie Murphy. Vinnie Murphy shoots it. A brilliant save by Gary Walsh. It's all happening in the last couple of minutes here. Donegal are defending as if their life depended on it. Are we going to see history made? Is this going to be the first ever one for Donegal? They lead by 4 points. Dublin really need a goal and a point, but perhaps a goal would give them a chance of winning this game. There's anxious faces all around us here in the Hogan stand. Anxious faces among the Dubs. Anxious faces among Donegal. The cameramen are away over at the far side at the Donegal dugout, but perhaps they're a little bit premature because with 2.5 minutes to go and injury time, anything could happen. Paul Clark going for the point from the 45-metre one line. His last one was successful. This one, it looks to be the right, it looks to be wide. No, indeed, it curled insufficiently to get the point, so Donegal are going to have anxious moments again. Matt Gallagher and Tommy Sugru. John Joe Doherty and Martin Gavigan both along with Sugru asking him how long to go. I make it 2 minutes of normal time to go. The Dubs are 3 points behind. They really need a goal. Perhaps there's not enough time for them to score 3 or 4 points to win this game. Points from play, that is, but a goal would put a completely different complexion on it. Well, we've often said it in situations like this. Possession is going to be so vital now. Who's going to get that possession? Is it going to be Barry Cunningham? It is Barry Cunningham. Manus Boyd told us till he begs teammate to fist it out. Now McHugh's on the move again. Up in the Dublin end. Being fouled, being held there by Keith Barr. Gives it back to Barry Cunningham. It's over to Declan Bonner. Declan Bonner's in front of goal. Declan Bonner thought about the point, but that one's going to go wide. No, it's going to be a foul. In fact, on John O'Leary, Declan Bonner just hesitated for the moment. That would have been the point that finished the game, I feel. but it's at the right end of the park. It was in fact Noel Hegarty who was out tossing that ball to Declan Bonner. Jack Sheedy's at this side. Declan Bonner closes him down. John O'Leary tried the quick one, but with time running out, there's only a minute of normal time to go. Donegal are getting everybody behind the ball. They're not going to. Tommy Carr's telling him to get on with it. Joyce McMullen should get this one. He has it. He's got a man in front of him. McHugh's on the run again. This is McHugh. McHugh out to Declan Bonner, but he'd have to get back onto the left foot. He must come out again to the left foot and swing it over the bar. Does he? He does indeed. Donegal are into the lead by 4 points. Donegal are into the lead by 4 points. 4 points again. 18 points to 4. There's half a minute of normal time to go. The short free taken out to Mick Deegan. Manus Boyle will foul him. Manus Boyle does foul him. Mick Deegan will give it to Tommy Carr, will he? No, he wants to take the quick one. He gives it to Paul Beaton. Paul Beaton. Now Donegal can't concede a goal. Barry McGowan watches the ball. Murphy gets his hands to it. The danger man has it again. Murphy fits the ball into guidance. Dublin looking for the goal. It's a free, it's a foul. But they won't be settled for the point. It's given to Jack Sheedy. There's danger here for Donegal. He's trying to force his way in. He shoots and he shoots wide. And that could be it all over. Donegal, will there be a new name on the Sam Maguire Cup? We counted them earlier on today. 15 teams have won All-Ireland titles out of the 32. A new name. That of Tyrconnell will be on it. If Tommy Sugrue plays well for full time, it's 18 points to 14. That's not important. The game is nearly over. Barry Cunningham had a great game in the second half. Declan Bonner scored a couple of brilliant points. He should knock it down into the corner, but he's going to run. So Richard McAward, man, they'll be proud of him in Southwest Donegal. It's a free. Tommy Sugrue's looked at his stopwatch. Call for the ball, referee. Is it all over? Tommy Sugrue, no. Does he call him? Yes! Donegal are the All-Ireland champions for 1992. They won it for the first time. There's a new name on the title. It's that of Donegal. 18 points to 14. Donegal men are on their feet in front of us. The Keeney brothers, Packie and Kieran to my left, who have both played for the county, are hugging one another. Michael McGee, it's a great moment.
Charlie, this is history, Charlie. We've been here in a historic game. Donegal joined the teams, our Ulster counterparts down, who came here for the first time and conquered. We came here against all the odds. We conquered. We think today of men like Harry Carey, Hughie Big Gallagher, Jackie Paddy-O. Those fellas who down the years wore the jersey with distinction when it wasn't all that fashionable and the rewards were not great. This is truly a great day for football. It's a great day for the GA. It's a great day for Donegal. It's a great day for those players out there. Every one of them played their heart out. It's a great day for the spectators. They came on their drove. They came on their crowd. Anthony Malloy, a place in history.
Michael, you can keep talking because I'm going to try and make my way down through the presentation area.
Well, as Charlie makes his way down, what can we say that hasn't been said? I'm sure you're watching it at home. You've seen it happen before you. You've heard us describe it. I hope you've enjoyed it. This is history. It's a historic day. We talk about the Battle of Clontarf. We talk about battles here. We talk about battles there. But when the history of Donegal has been written, the Battle of Croke Park on September the 20th, 1992 will be emblazoned across those pages. It will be a very, very special occasion. Who do you single out? You don't single anyone out. These are fellows who started in the under-21, fellows who believed in themselves, fellows who took the knocks, who took it from newspaper men, who took it from scribes, the know-alls as they were, who gave them no chance, had them coming along here just to fulfill a fixture. But those of us who followed them down through the years knew that these were not men who came to fulfill a fixture. These were men who believed in themselves. These were men who dedicated their time to the game. These were men who loved football and who lived that dream, who had that dream. We talked about Martin Luther King, talked about climbing the hill and talking about seeing the dream. These men climbed the hill. They saw the dream. They fulfilled the dream. Every one of them a hero. Every one of them gave their all for their country. Every one of them gave what they could for this historic day.
Wonderful scenes.
P.O. you back there with us.
Get my hands on some of the team as they come over here. I see Gary Walsh and Brian Murray coming to me. I'll try and get a quick word with them. They're really hugging one another. Okay, right. The boys are going up to the presentation area. All right, no problem. Well, they're just going up to the presentation area. I'm going to get a quick word here with one or two of them. Paul Carr. Unbelievable, Paul.
Fantastic. Can't believe it.
What a performance. Did you see that out there? That was superb. That was brilliant.
Never for a moment, Paul, did they look like losing it. When they came back from 6 points to 3, were you worried there?
No, we always knew we were going to win. We didn't start particularly well, but we always had it in hand. And the second half there was only one team in it, I thought. We were always going to win it. We were always in control.
Thanks, Paul. Paul, Tony Boyle just passing me there. Martin McHugh, a quick word, Martin. Martin, the people back listening in Donegal, what have you got to say to them?
Great, Charlie. The Smokey is after every match, and this is the greatest moment of my life. And I had a lot of critics down the years and everything, but tell you, I think I've repaid everybody in Donegal whatever I've done wrong on them. Thanks, Charlie.
Martin McHugh there, very emotional. Brian McAnuff, just there. Anthony Malloy has got the Sam Maguire Cup. What a great moment for Donegal and everyone in Donegal. Anthony Malloy with the Sam Maguire Cup. Noel McColl's beside me, the county chairman. Matt Gallagher there with. And now we're going to hear Anthony Malloy say a few words on behalf of everyone in Donegal. The big man from Ardra just getting his act together here to say a few words. What a great occasion for everyone in Donegal. Oh, Packie. Dr. James McGee, PD.
I'd like to thank the All-Irl and family for the patience and support they've given me all year. And I say this on behalf of all the team and the whole Donegal squad. I'd like to thank also our former players who wore the county jersey and who has been living in this society today. I also wish to thank ourselves, the supporters, that have been good to us over the years. Okay, another man who didn't make the squad today, he had a power just before he started. Another one is not, I have to give it a right shoulder. You've probably thought I've forgotten somebody, but I want you to put your hands together for the greatest man in Ulster at the moment, Brian McAnuff. For the past 20 years, Brian has given his life to us, Donegal football, and indeed us the football. And he got us just right there today. Thanks very much, Brian. And now I'll just announce, and he's all put their hands together and give 3 cheers, 3 rounds of cheers to the big Dublin team.
Yes, another great speech from Anthony Miller.
Well, I'm down here among the Donegal supporters. The team are all being presented to in Taoiseach and to, of course, Mr. Peter Quinn. We're going to have a word with 1 or 2 of the players as they come down. I can tell you it's not going to be easy in the mass of bodies that we have here, but we're certainly going to have a word with 1 or 2 of them as they come down. Michael Lafferty is with me here. Michael Lafferty, a great moment. Everyone connected to the team must be just over the moon.
It's the greatest day of my life, Charlie. I've been involved in football for 25 years now, and this really takes it. I've never been involved with a squad so dedicated. They deserve everything they get.
Michael, was there at any time in that second half when the bench were concerned that perhaps things could go wrong?
When Dublin cut the lead to 3 points again, I was afraid of one of those breaking balls in around there ending up on our net. But I thought our defence played magnificently as a unit.
Michael, we'll talk to you when it's a little bit quieter. It's a bit hectic here at the moment. Thanks a minute. John Hannigan, we're live here on Highland Radio at the moment. John, you played many a great game for Donegal. You must be over the moon with this one.
It's unbelievable, Charlie. The atmosphere here is electric. It's the greatest day ever for Donegal. We really will enjoy it now.
Well, John, I know from conversations with you before, you were fearful perhaps when the pressure really came on this team, the lack of experience at Croke Park, but they looked like a team that had played at Croke Park all their life today.
What happened tonight was they played in a unit. They never gave up. They kept supporting, backing up. They never stopped trying. And the heart that team has, we have never experienced any guts like it before. They kept rooting all the time.
Well, John, you're a happy man, and everyone in Donegal happy.
I have to go home tonight, unfortunately, because of an incident at home in neighbour, but I will be staying up for a week, only that.
Thanks, John. Thanks, Brian. Mick McGrath. Well, Mick, what a moment.
I can't get words out, Charlie. It's an unbelievable moment. It's a fantastic occasion for Donegal, and I think it's been well worth waiting for all these years. And all I would say to the people back home that's listening on Highland Radio is get the party ready, because we're going to have one hell of a week of celebrating in Donegal, and we're really going to bring Sam back to the hills.
Well, I'm sure we are, and it looks great. I'm going to try and force my way through the crowd, and I can tell you that's what I'm going to have to do, to try and get a word with 1 or 2 of the players, because it's pretty hectic down here. But we'll try and get a word over with Matt Gallagher or some of the lads here. If we could it's just almost virtually impossible down here, but well, we'll persevere and try and get over to some of the players if we can. At the moment, the surge of bodies here. The players are trying to come through. Not very easy, I can assure you. 1 or 2. Well, 1 or 2 people trying to get through here. It's unbelievable. Look, Gavigan having a go here as well. But we'll get a word with Matt in a moment. Matt. Matt Gallagher trying to encourage people to get on. Anthony Malloy trying to force his way through as well. Not easy for players to get through. Well, I think we're going to have to leave it, because I can tell you it's a fair mass of bodies down here. Almost impossible to get a word with anybody. The players are making their way towards the dressing room. So perhaps for the moment we'll go back to the studio and take a short break, and then we'll get reaction from some of the players a little bit later.